I believe we may be, with the exception, Ovita's back. Is Imelda back?
Sorry, I didn't. We saw you, but nobody said anything, so we didn't know if you were back yet.
There's Imelda. All right, is Lori and Reza back?
I am back, Dolores.
Oh, thanks, Lori. And Reza?
I'm here.
Okay. So maybe what we can do is do a quick roll call to make sure we still have quorum. Dolores Trujillo is here. Elizabeth Woods. Elizabeth Woods.
Sorry, I'm sorry. Woods is
That's
here.
okay. Okay. Imelda Seja-Buckowitz.
I'm here.
Jovita Dominguez.
Jovita Dominguez is here.
Susan Naranjo.
Susan is here.
Mary Fagan.
Mary Fagan's here.
Okay, we have a quorum. Moving on to item 6.0, report of the administrative committee. Advancing to 6.1, Lori, can you give your executive officer report? I have nothing to report.
I can, absolutely. Thank you, guys. Let me just get ready here. So a lot of my executive officer report has already kind of been touched on, so I'll just continue to expand on that. We did talk about the changes that we're making for the Enlightened licensing project. And thank you guys again for earlier today going ahead and approving the alternate use for CCR 1410 to not have to require a transcript for our in-state schools. I think that's going to be huge. The other thing that we did when we looked at the process for licensing was in the law, in the Nurse Practice Act, it says that the board must establish identity. Previously, that was done by requiring a 2x2 passport-like photo. And we saw that there were quite a bit of deficiencies coming from that photo requirement. It is not in regulation that it be a 2x2 passport-like photo. What is in the NPA is the establishment of identity. So we have decided to no longer require the 2x2 passport-like photo. That went into effect the beginning of July and is continuing to kind of move forward. So I wanted to update with you on that. What does happen is when a exam applicant takes the test at Pearson VUE, they establish identity and they take a picture of the person that is taking the exam after they've established identity. And that exam result is transmitted to us with the picture of the person that took the exam. Additionally, we have the Division of Investigations. We work with the Attorney General's office. If there was ever any need for us to establish any more identity other than what was already established through Pearson VUE and taking the NCLEX, we could do so in that manner. So we did take away the 2x2 passport-like photo. What that immediately did was clear almost 200 applicants because their only deficiency was the 2x2 passport-like photo. So that is the process moving forward. On the repeat and reapply applications, it was noticed that that process had been established, and when somebody did not pass the NCLEX on the first try and had to take a repeat examination, they were required to, again, submit a 2x2 passport-like photo and, again, submit transcripts. We made the decision after a thorough review within our licensing department to go ahead and stop that process as well, effective immediately when that was discovered. And so no longer do the repeat or reapply applications require supporting documentation. You're able to take it from the initial application that was originally approved and move that forward. So those are some of the specific licensing updates that have occurred. Additionally, again, we did talk about a BRN IT contract that works dedicated to the BRN and just streamlining more processes. I did want to give you an update that in the last 2 years, we have seen a licensing request for licensing in California increase by more than 10,000 applicants. And so that has increased over the last 2 years. Additionally, I would like to give you a January to July numbers for our California in-state graduates wanting licensing by exam. In 2019, there was 7,630 for that time period. That was the year prior to COVID. In 2020, the year of COVID, we had 7,729. We had increased by 99 applicants, even through COVID. Then this year, in 2021, going from January to July, we have increased our applications by 391, coming in at a grand total of 8,120 licensure by examination for in-state California grads. So we are continuing to see growth and moving and working towards this. Again, that just further confirms the reason why we needed to move to our California applicants, making that a hands-off kind of streamlined process that does not require that. I can share the numbers. So with the California exams, the total I gave you was 8,120 for January to July of this year. In perspective, the U.S. exam applications, so Mary Fagan, the one that you were talking about, whether or not they should test in their state or come into California and test, those applicants to come into California and test were in this same time period from January to July, the half of our first fiscal year, was 747 applicants. So you can see by addressing the greater than 8,000, we're going to really make quite a dent in really making this more efficient. Now, our international license by examination requests come in at 1,698 for that same time period. So with the 1,698 and the 747 for our U.S. exams, those two combined don't even come up with much of a fraction of the more than 8,000 that we were able to clear out with that first move in our Enlightened License project and streamlining that. So I'm really hoping that with that largest chunk addressed, that we will really be able to put a focus on getting our license by exam for both international, out of state, and our endorsements and verifications. The other one that I wanted to pay attention to is our license verification process. So previously, the license verification process is for, not previously, so our license verification process is for the licensed RN in the state of California who wants to go to another state and practice. And so we have to verify that they've had license with us. Last fall, we did a build to our Breeze system that allowed the public to see whether or not that applicant was licensed by examination in California or licensed by endorsement into California. We also added this spring to our website the verification that that is primary source data. Additionally, it was brought to the attention that the DCA license portal for Breeze did not specifically identify that license lookup, that it belonged to the California Board of Registered Nursing. And so we did add our logo to it and specifically states California Board of Registered Nursing. When I met with NCSBN a few months back, I presented to their executive officers what is on our license lookup that is currently right now in public view that the other states can use to allow for licensees to endorse into their state. Some of the states said, because that is primary source data, that they will no longer have to do a verification process, official, where they charge fees, where they do all that. They can take it from our primary source data that is public on our website. Other ones said, this is fantastic. Thank you for this. We need more information. We need education information. So we are looking at what that would look like, what kind of education requirements are needed, and whether or not that's something that we would put on a public-facing forum. We would like to see what our requirements are with that. The last group, which I thought was really great, is the information that was provided on that Breeze license lookup was enough to allow them to issue a temporary license immediately and allow them to get that primary source documentation on education sent to them through the license verification process. So that was great information for us and a movement forward to allow our licensees to go be licensed in other states almost immediately in some states, at least at a temporary basis for other states. And we're continuing to work on that process to streamline it and of course, expedite that. One of the other things that we saw when we looked at the endorsement process out of state was that all licensees prior to the BREEZE implementation in 2013 did not have readily available licensing information. In fact, a lot of that was kept on either microfilm or microfiche. And that was brought into my attention last summer, so a year ago. In the meantime, our board ops pursued a contract with a company that would digitalize the microfilm, and that has been completed. So all microfilm data that carried the 2013 and previous license data has been digitalized. That contract has been completed. It has been turned over to DCA. DCA now has the ability to protect that data and allow that data to be searchable. And so we no longer have what was called a hand-typed or a hand-typed process to research those, and now it can be searched digitally, which also sped up. I'm sorry, it's after lunch. My sugar is kind of going crazy right now. It sped up our process for verification. So a lot of back-end work that had to be done to support improving all of our processing times by really working on IT fixes and moving this along. In the meantime, we also did change over our phone system. As you guys are very aware, we went live the beginning of this year, a few months back. And the phone system is an Amazon-based system. It does allow us for very accurate reporting, different from the process that we had before. And I'll do a June, just the month of June comparison to this month, this year, June. Last year's June, we received under 20,000 calls in 1 month. This year's June, we received 100,000 calls in 1 month. We were able to finally accurately catch how many calls came into our public information unit. With that said, we took the approach of let's not fix the symptoms essentially that are showing, let's fix the underlying problem. That underlying problem on review is our licensing processing times. We were very clear with that. And so we are addressing that by addressing the 8,000 plus applicants that are received during the grad seasons and such with the California in-state schools. And we're hoping to speed up all of our processing times, therefore dropping those numbers considerably. Another thing that was developed was our application status checker. If you go onto our website on the top right-hand corner, it allows you, it says to check the application status and details. If you click on that button on the top, it brings you to an application status and details page. Applications that they can now, an applicant can track is all of our APRN applications, our public health nurse application, renewals, furnishing, endorsement applications, and license by exam applications. So they are now able to input their last name, the last four of their social security number, and their birth date, and they are able to track by locating their information on this portal exactly what they are deficient in. And again, remember I just said that we removed the deficiency for the 2x2 passport-like photo, so that will no longer be impeding them. The other deficiency for applications for exam was the fingerprint. And we moved the fingerprint requirement to the licensing requirement. So we have what's called two separate transactions. We have a 1010 transaction and a 1020 transaction. The 1010 transaction clears the applicant to test by examination. The 1020 application clears the applicant to license. So we tied the fingerprint to the license. That's where our statute is. That's where our public protection lies. Not to the examination process, but to the licensing process, which is what we are required to do. So that should clear up deficiencies for exam takers. but will not clear a deficiency for license because they do indeed have to have fingerprints and those results back for that. So we do have this process coming soon. It's projected to be implemented by the 13th of August is the 8-year registered nurse license by exam, the retake, and renewal with exam and no exam. And so those are the next ones to go live. That should go live within the next week. So I wanted to give you guys an update on that too. So we're really working hard on what can we do to fix the problem so we don't have to have everybody trying to contact the board to get those follow-up questions asked or answered, that we do provide the service that we said that we were going to provide. We are also continuing to work with DCA to submit our annual report. We're just submitted our budget, our BCP, which is to hopefully, a couple years ago, we were allowed 67, I believe, positions to have budget authority over. Some of them were short-term or limited-term positions, and we have asked for those to be full-term positions. We've submitted that. We do have the workload to support that, so we're waiting to see how that goes through. COVID impact, just to kind of update on our waivers, and then really just kind of for the public to clarify the difference between a law and a waiver. A waiver is specifically enacted by the governor, and he has given the authority to the deputy director of, or sorry, the director of DCA to put waivers on various laws, and that lifts requirements that are currently there. It can't replace them and it can't write new law. It only can lift, and that's what a waiver does. And we do have a current waiver in place for our nursing school and their hours, and the furnishing requirement for physician supervision for our nurse practitioners and such. So previously it was a 1-to-4 ratio that a physician can look at if they were furnishing. That's still lifted. And the 75% direct patient care requirement continues to be lifted for our schools through that waiver process. Those are set to expire on the 31st of August. Some of those have been included in what's called a DCA waiver wrap-up, and we are waiting for final decision from the governor at that point to see what the decision is on whether or not we can continue those waivers. The ask from the schools is to have the waiver for student hours to be continued to the end of this year, to January 1, and that is the ask that we did as well. The next update is on our sunset. So AB 1532 is our sunset bill that has been updated to allow for a one-year extension for the board and the EO. The communication that was received from legislative staff was that this was to allow for a lot of these improvements that we've kind of talked about to actually come to fruition and to carry out. It also allows for some educational issues to kind of be cleared up and further investigation into those by the staff. And so with that, we did get an extension. It is a 2-year legislative season, so we did get an extension, and we hope to get full extension next year when we go back and forth with the proof of all of the stuff that we've done and implemented over the last year. And then to wrap up my report, I wanted to talk about the California State Auditors, the reports and stuff that came out last year. And so a year ago, we did get an investigative audit that gave 3 recommendations. I am happy to report that all 3 recommendations have been fully implemented. And that was very, very exciting news for us to carry out. The other thing is to let you guys know that with that investigatory audit, it did call into question the enforcement audit, 2016-046, that had multiple areas of recommendation. As new executive management last year, we wanted to make sure that when this came out, that that was the only area that had any kind of wrongdoing or anything in that. So I did contact DCA, and we asked DCA to do an internal investigation on each one of the recommendations and the responses to the recommendations from CSA. They did complete that investigation, and it was determined that at this point there's been no other fraudulent activity, that all other recommendations were asked and answered appropriately, and the evidence submitted that was verifiable. So that made me very, very happy as well. But as going through this process and looking at licensing, I decided why not, my team decided, why not look at enforcement thoroughly again. It had been since 2016 when that audit came through. We're at 5 years. Let's look at that. And so that investigative team through DCA had some recommendations to us that they wanted to look at. There was about 8 of them. And so we have now opened that up with the office, the Organizational Improvement Office called OIO, and we will be mapping out our enforcement process and see if there's anything that we can do to really decrease those timeframes, make it more efficient, and really do a deep dive into our enforcement process, identically to what we've been doing in our licensing process through the Enlighten License project. So getting really big deep dives into both of those areas through DCA support, and really working to see what we can do to streamline everything, going to as much technology support as possible, and seeing what we can do to kind of go green and kind of stay green and not be a total paper process. Enforcement's doing great with that so far, and we're continuing to go that. The next audit is the pre-licensure audit. That pre-licensure audit came out to us again last summer, and they had 9 areas of recommendation to the board, with 4 areas of recommendations to the legislator to consider during sunset. So I'd like to give you guys an update on those. We do have recommendations 2, 3, 4, and 8 fully implemented. We were able to clear those recommendations off. Pending recommendations are recommendation 1, and that is a contract update to include regional data with our workforce analysis. That contract is still in process. As soon as that contract is completed, recommendation 1 will be fully implemented. I am positive with that. Recommendations 5, 6, 7, and 9 are contingent upon a technological build, data collection, data entry, verification, and then publication out to our website. So the data collection has been completed. That was with the update of our facility information approval form. We did update that last October. And then the deans and directors did a clean sweep, submitted all new forms for their clinical facilities, and that data was turned in and collected in December of last year. Then we mapped out the process with OIO, again, the Organizational Improvement Office, to develop a technology data bank or database to support the inputting of all of that information. That database has been created. It is implemented, it has been tested, and it is now live. So what is happening right now, our board staff are inputting all of the data that was collected by the deans and directors. Once that data is completely implemented, that data will go through a data cleanup, that data will be verified, and then it will be published to our website. We are hoping to have that website publication as early as October, and then we expect at that point to have recommendations 5, 6, 7, and 9 fully implemented. And that, again, is a lot of work by our NECs, a lot of work with our deans and directors, and DCA with IT support to really get that done. And as well as our board staff, they're all working together right now to input all that data that was collected and to test that. And a lot of wonderful feedback with that. My goal with that, sorry, not my goal. I keep saying mine. It's not me at all. The goal with that is to be as transparent as possible. They will be able to, stakeholders will be able to access this on a public platform as requested by CSA. And they will be able to find out what clinical facilities these schools are associated with and what those facilities are associated with which school. It will also help the board to make more informed decisions utilizing this information that will help you guys to discover clinical impaction or lack of clinical impaction. And it will really help to answer that. So those are all things I'm very excited. The next step is to develop a faculty approval that will be tied to their BRN license. All faculty approvals within the state of California require RN licensure. And looking at the process, it looks like it will be a ability that the board has to tie it to the BREEZE licensing and have that public. The great thing that does is it ties it to the location of the RN that is now receiving that faculty approval. We will be able to see faculty excess, faculty shortage, faculty need. That will all be able to be put out as well. And I'm so looking forward to having this at our fingertips. It'll be really great information. It will be a one and done kind of application process. Right now, I'll talk to you what the application process is for faculty. They apply for approval depending on the academic institution they're accepted with. So if they're at academic institution 1, they get approved for academic institution 1. If they go to academic institution 10, they have to then submit additional approval for academic institution 10. I would like to see this more aligned with a teaching credential. That's essentially what we're offering, is a teaching credential. Our nurses are approved to teach when they go through this process. Any other college, you have a teaching credential. Any other K through 12, you have a teaching credential. You meet that credential, you keep that credential renewed and current by completing certain guidelines. It is not based on if I teach at this high school or this college, I have to get new approval. You have a credential. And that is what we're working on with this, is we will give these nurses essentially a faculty teaching credential in alignment with what our regulation states, which is a clinical teaching assistant, an assistant instructor, or an instructor level, as well as a director of nursing and assistant director of nursing. They will have one approval, and that will be good for every single school that they want to teach at, versus having to reapply and get reapproved every single time. And so that is our next step. As soon as we get the clinical facilities under control, then we can go ahead and move to the faculty part of it too, so that we can get that process under control and really streamline that and take a lot of the load off of our deans and directors. The last step, and the most recent one, it's still in process, is there was 4 legislative recommendations that went to out of the CSA recommendation. And one of them was to align with our accreditors. So our first combined accreditation and BRN approval is scheduled for this fall at San Diego City College. They will be doing an ACEN approval and a BRN approval together. And we are working through aligning all of the continuing approval visits right now with their accreditors. So if they have ACEN accreditation, we will be doing it together and accepting the singular report that's written for ACEN for us. If there are specific call outs that are specific to the BRN, they will have an appendix that will address that. We will not require a second report. The same with CCNE. CCNE is primarily used within the BSN programs, and we will align with the CCNE visits, and we will accept the report that is written for CCNE, and we will not require an additional report specifically written for the BRN. Again, if there are specific areas that need to be addressed that are outside of what the accreditor requires, we will allow that to be addressed in an appendix of that same report. Therefore, greatly decreasing the amount of workload that our deans and directors have had to do in the past to schedule 2 individual visits, both for their accreditors and the BRN, and write 2 individual reports, both for BRN and their accreditors. So we are greatly reducing that. The last one of the accrediting agents is NLNAC, and they've contacted me, and they would like to be included in that alignment. Previously, that was not accepted through NCSBN because they did not have the US DOE approval. They have recently received US DOE approval. I have reached out to NCSBN to get direction on this, and if everything is great and accepted, we will also be aligning to NLNAC accreditation and going through that process. I did reach out to them. I have had contact with their executive staff, and I have their requirements, and we are currently in review of that to better align with them too. So a lot of really great updates that have been in the making. We're working on it. We're trying to address them, even though they are legislative directions from CSA. We felt that they were appropriate for BRN to look at and not wait for it to be written into legislation. And so we are addressing those and moving forward with that. Any questions?
Wow.
A lot to report there. That was a lot.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Congratulations, Lori, that you and your team have been making incredible progress. Very impressive.
We have. The team is amazing. I couldn't do it without them. They're fantastic. And it's been kind of a slow build. You know, I likened it in a meeting I had the other week where it's kind of like you're on that first hill of the roller coaster and it's like tink, 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 tink until you get to the top, and then all of a sudden you get to go down. So we have been slowly tink, 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 because you have to build so much at the foundation because we didn't have it. And so you had to really come in and address it at that level, build that foundation. And now we can start rolling down the other side. Hopefully within the next few months, you guys will really see a new and improved BRN serving our public in a way that is meaningful. So thank you guys very much. My team is amazing. The staff is truly dedicated, and they are the ones giving us this idea. You know, they're doing the hands-on work. And so when they say, hey, this is better and this works for us, we're listening and we're doing what we can to support them in that process. It takes time. It's not always immediate, but it will be happening.
How much of the improvement is related to the Enlighten project versus just other improvement work that you and your team are doing?
Oh, goodness. All of the enforcement stuff was not through the Enlighten License project. All of the nursing school education is not related to the Enlighten License project. The Enlighten License project was something that was identified, really was working with DCA. I have every other week meetings with them. And with the organizational restructure that happened a couple years ago under the previous EO, there was an inclusion of a couple different roles. And one of them was a staff service manager in the board ops. It allowed the licensing to have a staff service manager too as well, dedicated solely to licensing, and a director of licensing that oversees the licensing process, the nursing education consultants, which directly feed into licensing, as well as our continuing education unit. And with the advent of that restructuring, again, that was done prior to me coming into this role, has really opened up some opportunities of support in working through that process. And with working through that process and working with the deputy director of licensing and our supervising nursing education consultants, there was quite a lot of identification of areas of improvement that needed to be done in order to really serve everybody. So with bringing that information to DCA in my meetings, DCA thought it would be great to go ahead and do an Enlighten License project and really have our board be the first ones. So they brought that to my attention. I jumped as quickly as possible. I don't even think I let the DCA director get it out of her mouth before I said, yes, we're in. And so we joined that. Going through that process, it opened our eyes to a lot of different things that had been going on. Again, I was new to this role. Macaulay Fusarins, our chief of licensing, was new to her role, same time as me. And our board ops, Matthew Yates, was new to his role, same time as me coming in right before the pandemic hit. And so going through it, we were able to really do a deep dive into licensing. We started implementing changes immediately based on the licensing staff feedback, based on the deputy director, Christina Spriggs' feedback. Their feedback has been pivotal. So we started implementing all of this stuff prior to even getting feedback from the license project. Now, what has been great is the license project has allowed us to look at things even further outside of the box than we had before. When they told us and shared that other boards and bureaus are utilizing a licensing system that doesn't require transcripts, I went, wait, what? Yes, let's do that. And so that was really something that was like, hey, this is possible. Look into this. And so we did. We looked into it. Christina Sprigg worked with her. They're called Staff Service Manager 1. She's a Staff Service Manager 2. She worked with that team, and they found out anything that would impede that from going forward. And they worked really hard identifying those. And then we bring that to IT, and IT works through that. We did just get a report out of the Enlightened License Project on Friday last week. And that was the first time that we had something kind of substantial in our hand. They have 6 recommendations that we're now looking at, and that will take us on the next journey of our Enlightened License Project. So up until this point, it was the one recommendation that they did for looking at something without a transcript. And we're anxious to see what the next ones bring. So next week, I believe, is where they will look at the endorsement process into California, and we will streamline that one based on the working with that and the feedback from our licensing staff and other boards and bureaus.
That's fantastic.
It is. It's exciting. It's a good time to be a part of the board.
I have one more question, but I want to give other people a chance.
Go ahead, Mary.
But I was thinking about when you were talking, I'm so happy that you're doing the accreditation visits at the same time with the BRN visits. I think that's wonderful. And what I was thinking it might be similar to is when hospitals are reviewed by CMS and the Joint Commission. For us, there's other accrediting organizations, but Joint Commission comes, and the CMS has given Joint Commission deemed authority, so that if Joint Commission, if we've passed Joint Commission certification, then we don't have to have a CMS visit, or if they find something, then CMS comes. Do you think we'll ever be in a position as the BRN where we would use the accreditation, and we'd give them basically deemed authority, and if the accreditation body found that the programs were compliant, that we wouldn't need to go there unless they had found some problems, and really to lighten that load?
That would be wonderful. We're not there yet, but interested to see if we can ever get there. Currently, NCSBN, which is the National Council of State Boards of Nursing, that helps to kind of put all the boards and bureaus together, all 50 states plus the 4 other entities, they require board approval. So we have to have a board approval of the pre-licensure program. So that is a requirement that allows them to sit for the NCLEX. If we don't approve them, they can't sit for the NCLEX, they can't be an RN. So right now we are bound by that. So we will continue to have a board approval process for our pre-licensure nursing program so that they can actually become RNs and sit for licensure. The other thing is, on review of the information for ASIN and CCNE, is it doesn't completely check off all of the requirements for the BRN, which is why we would allow them to include an appendices that would cover the specific BRN requirements in that same report, so that we can ensure that we are still focused on public protection. NCSBN has an amazing tool that compares approval to accreditation. They are different focus. So we do have to still maintain the public protection focus that is outlined through the board's directive, of course, and continue to maintain the approval focus on that. And so we are following in alignment with what NCSBN recommends now, with doing accreditation and approval and doing joint visits. So we are currently becoming in alignment with that. We had not been in alignment with that before. So that is something that we are moving towards right now, and that's with realigning all of those. The other thing to take into consideration with that is a lot of the accreditation, when you look at what they look at, they say based on board approval. And so we have to have that board approval. We have to establish that baseline, and then the accreditation can come in on top of that, and then we can work symbiotically. So they don't establish a lot of things independently. They always state in their stuff that they're reviewing based on board approval, based on the requirements of that state. And so we do still have to continue to work together. But when I was a program director, it was difficult to prepare for 2 visits. It was difficult to write 2 reports. I felt like I was always in report mood and always putting out fires. And so I would love to decrease that load. I do have a work group that we formed in October of last year that works with the deans and directors to look at aligning the accreditation visits with the APR, with the BRN approval visits. We haven't met in a few months, but we were meeting every other week with that. And we got a big chunk of everything that we've done reviewed. And so a lot of the duplicative effort will be removed. We are doing that, and we are supporting those transitions that can be technologically supported. Again, the one-time license for teaching to be tied to the license and done, a one and done instead of each and every time. And the same things with the clinical approvals. That's the one thing that we'll look at as well, is once that site has been approved for those individual content areas, med-surg, OB, peds, psych, mental health, that site will not need an additional approval. What will have to happen then at that point, what we're envisioning happening at that point, is just to ensure that there's no clinical displacement. And so that will take away of having to have faculty approval every time before you employ or hire in a new faculty member. It will take away that facility approval every time before you do it. You would just have to verify that there's no displacement, that you're taking into consideration the nursing community versus just kind of moving and growing into that. So we're looking at all of those different processes so that we can decrease the load on our deans and directors, allow for more autonomy with them, and continue to maintain the board approval and really look at aligning with NCSBN.
Fantastic. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Lori. Any other questions or comments from the board? So, Reza, we need to open this up for public comment. Being that it was a report and information.
Right. Yes, open it up for public comment, please. It's technically each agenda item.
Sure. Okay, BRN moderator, can we please open this up for public comment? Thank you.
We will be opening for public comment now. I will be activating the question and answer feature. Please refer to the screen share for members of the public to see how they should type in their request for comment. I've activated the question and answer feature. Members of the public can indicate that they would like to make a comment by typing into the question box, "I would like to make a comment." Please remember, you will have 2 minutes to make your comments. I will not give a reminder as your time approaches. I do not want to interrupt you nor cause you to lose your train of thought. I will mute your microphone and inform you that your time has expired, and we'll move on to the next member of the public. I'll pause for a moment for members of the public to type in, "I would like to make a comment." Board President Trujillo, there are no public requests for comment. Would you like me to close this window?
Yes, thank you. Okay, next item on the agenda is item 6.2, nomination and election of board member to vacant vice president position.
This is Imelda Sehab-Betkowitz. I would like to nominate Mary Fagan for the vacant vice president position.
This is Betty. I'd like to second that, please.
I would like to nominate Jovita Dominguez for vice president. I've watched her step up to the role of the Education Licensing Committee, and I've noticed great growth in her in the last few meetings. With regard to the sunset review, the legislative staff have shared with the board staff that they need more time to evaluate the nursing education piece for sunset review. And this will be a perfect opportunity for her to step up into a leadership role and assist the legislative staff the board staff, and our executive officer to answer their questions regarding nursing education and hopefully come to a decision regarding the board sunset review.
This is Reza. So it sounds like we have two nominees so far. I'm not sure. It sounded like Imelda was kind of framing it as a motion. First, let me ask, are there any other, does anyone else want to nominate themselves or somebody else? Or is it just, and then the second question would be, do our nominees accept the nominations?
Yeah, this is Mary. I thank you, and I do accept the nomination for vice president. I, take my responsibility on this board very, very seriously, and I'm really committed to the work we do, and I'm really excited about the direction we're going, and I want to continue to see that happen. I know Lori and your team are doing a great job with quality improvement. Before I was the chief nursing officer here, I was our director of quality. I'm a green belt in Lean Six Sigma, and so I feel like I can help contribute in some way to these continued improvement efforts, which are just going to make us more effective, more efficient, as we serve our mission to protect the public. So, yeah, thank you for the nomination and the second.
Hi, this is Imelda Ceja-Butgowitz. I believe there was not a second for Jovita Dominguez, but I would like to add to my recommendation for Mary Fagan. This board is
Right now, Imelda, let's hear if they've accepted or not. And then
there has to be a second for Jovita before she can accept.
No, I don't know.
I think we're.
Go ahead, Reza.
I'm sorry. I think we were trying to sort out because we have two nominees and trying to sort out, is that everybody, and are they both willing to fill that role? If they both are, then it will come down to, Mary gave a statement. I don't know if Jovita would like to make a statement if she accepts, but then board members can make their comments. We can get public comment, and then proceed to a vote.
This is Jovita Dominguez, and I do accept, and I do feel that I could be an asset during, while I was listening to the sunset review. I noticed that they have a lot of questions. The legislative has a legislative committees have a lot of questions on the board regarding the education, and I feel I can be an asset. So I do accept the nomination.
Reza, I need clarification. I thought for a motion that had to be a second. So I'm kind of confused.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Imelda. So I don't think we laid out the process for this before you went ahead and made that motion, and that's why I'm trying to sort it out. I think the issue was that, you nominated Mary, and we did have a second for that. So that's what's on the table. However, I think for the board members' consideration of how to vote on that, it's worth their while to know, are there other people who are interested in fulfilling that role? So when we vote on your motion, that, as I said, is on the table, like I said, I think, it may be that there were no other nominees, or maybe, you have multiple people who want to take, have an opportunity for that position. It's worth knowing that before making the first vote, I think. So sorry about the confusion process-wise. I hope that's okay. But I think we've got the two nominees who have both indicated they're willing to fill that position if selected. So I think now would be fine for board members to make any additional comments if they wish. Otherwise, any public input, and then. But like I
would like to make additional comments. This board has been through a lot. I've been here since 2014 as a public member. I do believe that we need more public member representation, and I voiced my opinion to the governor's office. Everybody else is fairly new. I think Betty and I are the oldest ones that served on this board. My term has actually ended, but I got an extension for another year. I'm really hoping, I'm going to stay on until they find a replacement for me. And Betty is probably the next one. Her and I both started at the same time. Betty, she has one more year. She had no interest in becoming a vice VP. I think Mary Fagan was the next one to come on board. It was really a shame that we lost Mr. Marlborough. I just think, Mary Fagan, everybody's great on this board, but what I've noticed from Mary Fagan is she's neutral. She's doing what's best for the public, best for this board. She doesn't have her own agenda, and that is why I'm nominating Mary Fagan. Thank you.
Any other comments or questions? Okay, we can take it to public comment, please.
We will be opening for public comment now. I will be activating the question and answer feature. Please refer to the screen share for members of the public to see how they should type in their request for comment. I've activated the question and answer feature. Members of the public can indicate they would like to make a comment by typing into the question box, "I would like to make a comment." Please remember you will have 2 minutes to make your comments. I will not give a reminder of your time as your time approaches. I do not want to interrupt you nor cause you to lose your train of thought. I will mute your microphone and inform you that your time has expired, and we'll move on to the next member of the public. I'll pause for a moment for members of the public to type in, "I would like to make a comment." Judy Corliss would like to make a comment. 1 second, please.
Hi,
Go
good
ahead, Ms.
afternoon
Corliss.
again to the board. I am absolutely in favor of Mary Fagan. I believe that she's been on this board long enough to understand all the workings of the board. And I was wondering, and I don't know if you can answer this, but we had to go through extensive training back when I served, and it was through the Attorney General's office. And with COVID, I wonder if all the new members have had an opportunity to have training on all of the parameters of every committee, such as education, discipline, etc. We went through several days of training, and with COVID, I'm not sure if they were able to do that for everybody. I believe Mary has had that, and in running a hospital such as Rady Children's, I believe that she has really given some beautiful input, and especially today about her comments on the strategic plan. So I would encourage that you put somebody in as vice president that has been on a long time, along with the other two that have served a lengthy time. It is a very hard job to fulfill, and you have a lot of responsibilities, and there is a learning curve along the way. So thank you for my input, and I do appreciate all of you having served on this board. It's very, very important. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ms. Corliss. Board President Trujillo, there are no other public requests for comment. Would you like me to close this window?
Yes, please.
I can say I believe our board members have gone through board member orientation training, which is through the DCA Legal Affairs Division. I'm not sure what the Attorney General's office offers now or in the past when Ms. Corliss was on the board as far as training. I know that they have recorded trainings that I don't recall exactly what it is, whether it's Bagley Keene or ethics or something or other, but I'm not sure. But I know our board members have had the orientation training that introduces them to Open Meeting Act, Administrative Procedures Act, and the rest of that. So.
Okay, any other comment or questions from the board? So we can take it to a vote. So Reza, we vote for one at a time, correct?
Yeah, I kind of wish we had discussed the procedure before starting to nominate. I think, as I said, Imelda made a motion, and you could go ahead and take that motion first, which would mean, yes vote would be to appoint Mary to the VP position, and no vote would just be to not appoint Mary. Then if that fails, you'd have to take another vote on Jovita. The alternative would be just one vote that's, board members will either vote for Jovita or Mary, and the board member with the most votes would win. So I don't want to, take away from Imelda's motion. So Imelda, if that would not be, if you want to proceed with your motion, I think that would be fine. But there is the other way to go about it. The board would prefer to do it that way.
Yes, I do want to proceed with my motion.
Which was to appoint Mary, so.
Okay, we can take it to a vote. Dolores Trujillo votes no. Elizabeth Woods?
Elizabeth Woods votes yes.
Imelda?
Imelda votes yes.
Jovita?
Jovita Dominguez votes no.
Mary?
Mary votes yes.
Susan?
Susan votes yes.
Okay. I believe that's majority, isn't it?
I counted 4, I think, yeses. So that would
that's
be majority.
majority for Mary. Okay. Congratulations, Mary.
Congratulations, Mary.
Thanks, Jovita.
Okay.
Thanks, all of you.
All right. Moving on to agenda item 6.3. This is information only, committee member appointments. So I would like some clarification on this. Is this something that is done every year prior to the upcoming year, is to appoint committee members to the different committees?
Dolores, I can answer that for you.
Thanks.
No, that is not something that is done every year to appoint committee members to the appointments. What happened was when our board member, Ken Marble, retired off our board, or decided to pursue other options from being on our board, it left his position vacant in those committees. The task now is for you as the board president to look at those committees, make sure that they are aligned appropriately, and to see if there are any members that would need to be transferred off of a committee onto a committee that he vacated, to ensure that we have the same amount or that we have an accurate representation of board members. If you feel on that review that it is not needed and there's no shuffling that needs to occur at this point, then no nomination would need to, appointment would need to occur from you. If you do see that there is an overabundance of board members on one committee and a committee that is lacking support because of the vacancy, then you would move that appointment right now so that we can go on and have those filled for the next one. But this is not something that is typically done on an annual basis. It's usually done when a need arises.
So the committee that Ken Marble vacated, one of the committees is Education and Licensing. And because of that, there's only 2 members on that committee. There's Jovita as the chair, and then Susan. I would like to ask that Mary Fagan help fill in on the Education Licensing Committee. And the rest of the committees all have 3 and 4 members on it. So I don't see any changes that are needed. The administrative committee consists of myself and Lori, and now Mary will be filling in on that committee also. Looking at this, so it might be too much for Mary. My alternative for education and licensing would be Betty Woods.
I'm already on 2 committees.
Yeah, most of us are. Actually, yeah, most of us are. Imelda still has another year.
Dolores, I'll accept. I think I can handle another committee.
All right, thank you, Mary.
Welcome.
So that's the only change that's probably needed right now. With Imelda on for another year, we don't need to make any changes on the committee that she serves on or the chair of the Enforcement Intervention Committee.
Yes, not at that time. Once she serves her grace or a additional public member is appointed or whatever, then we can do committee member appointments
Yeah,
at that
I'll have
point
to
too.
look at it again.
So then you would just have to, at this point, take it out to public comment.
Okay. BRN moderator, can we open for public comments, please? BRN moderator, can we open for public comment, please?
We will be opening for public comment now. I will be activating the question and answer feature. Please refer to the screen share for members of the public to see how they should type in their request for comment. I have activated the question and answer feature. Members of the public can indicate that they would like to make a comment by typing into the question box, "I would like to make a comment." Please remember, you will have 2 minutes to make your comments. I will not give a reminder as your time approaches. I do not want to interrupt you nor cause you to lose your train of thought. I will mute your microphone and inform you that your time has expired, and we'll move on to the next member of the public. I'll pause for a moment for members of the public to type in, "I would like to make a comment." Cynthia Yovanov would like to make a comment. 1 second, please. Go ahead, Ms. Yovanov.
Hi, thank you again. I want to congratulate Mary Fagan. I think she will be a phenomenal leader in that position. And I personally want to thank that decision because of the fact that in many of these meetings, many of you guys have been fair and equitable in regards to your decisions, and many of you guys have not. Many of you guys, including legal counsel, often say, and executive leadership often say, in my personal opinion, in my personal assessment, and even though I understand it comes from very different vantage points, it is important that many of these decisions are made by the board that represent nursing. And in many of these discussions, I appreciate the consideration and being open rationales given to the many hurdles that we are going through with AB 890 as well as the APRN Council. And I do want to address one last thing before my time is up, is that I find it a disservice when people's personal opinion come in and reflect what they think occurs with legislation, but is not familiar with what is happening with our bill. So thank you for those on the board that really take the time to read, to research, to understand, and to reflect what is going on with our scope of practice of nurse practitioners, CNSs, CNRNAs, because we are innovative and we are moving forward and we are trying to close the provider gap here in California. So thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Yovanov. Board President Trujillo, there are no other public requests for comment. Would you like me to close this window?
Yes, thank you.
By the way, have to respond to that briefly. This is Reza. If board members have a problem or concerns with receiving the legal opinion of their counsel, please let me know either on the spot or offline as you choose. Thank you.
Thank you, Reza. All right. There's no vote needed for this, correct? So we can move on.
That is correct. So we
Okay.
can move on to item 6.4.
6.4, discussion and possible action on the board and committee meeting dates for 2022. So I would need a little guidance on this. What should be the times? I mean, we meet quarterly for board, correct?
We do have it in statute, Dolores. And so in statute, we are required to meet every 3 months to conduct board meetings. So in our agenda, there are, under the materials, there are 2 proposed calendars that the board can adopt or amend as needed. And so they are located on, I'm trying to find out exactly what page, I'm so sorry. Scrolling. So they're located on page 71 of the materials. That is the option 1. And then on page 73 is option 2. So 71 and 72 is option 1, 72 and 73 is option 3. Both of them meet our statutory requirements, and both of them have a schedule of meeting every 3 months. Again, just to take into consideration, these are the standing board meetings and schedule for both committee and board. That is different than any of the optional meetings or non-scheduled meetings that we do a 10-day posting and then hold an additional meeting. Those are not voted on in advance. Those are arranged and put into place as needed. So these are the standing board meeting and committee meeting days that occur every 3 months to meet the statutory requirements. So you just need to look at option 1 or option 2, see if there's any edits to either one that would make it suit the board best. And then once option 1 or option 2 is voted on, then that will establish our board meeting schedule and board committee meeting schedule for all of 2022.
Thank you, Lori.
You're welcome.
I noticed that on the, it says one day, the day one is one's discipline and one's administrative. That's not typically how we've done the meetings, right? We've sort of put everything together, and then if we need the second day, we use it. Is this different?
So this is pre-COVID. This is pre-COVID and post-COVID. So pre-COVID and post-COVID, this is the typical makeup where we always have discipline day 1, and then the board going through this agenda on day 2. With the waiver that was put in for Bagley Keene and being able to hold these remotely, and then changing the process for discipline day during COVID, we have combined them for a 1 day and possibly go into the second day. Depending on the outcome of legislation that is in consideration right now that would affect Bagley Keene, would depend on the outcome of our board meetings. Right now, there has been no legislation passed that amends or changes Bagley Keene, and therefore, as soon as the executive order is lifted, we would have to go back to the previous meeting schedule and how that is handled, including our discipline days and enforcement to make sure that we don't get a backlog there. And so I know, Mary, most of our board members are brand new, but Imelda and Betty can speak to that this is how it was done prior to COVID due to the Bagley Keene constraints and the way that the board business was done previously.
Okay, I've only been here since COVID, so.
Yeah, I know, it's crazy. The other thing to take into consideration is when or if we go back to the pre-COVID ways and Bagley Keene is in full effect, we are required in statute to alternate our board meeting locations to north and south. So one board meeting will be held in the north, one board meeting will be held in a physical location in the south, and that continues to rotate. And so we would then at that point schedule those locations. But I know that the cost savings, the time savings, the travel, everything that has been afforded to us this last year of COVID has been fantastic. So I know there's quite a few people that are hoping that legislation is passed and that Bagley-Keene is amended in some way.
I have a question regarding the administrative meeting dates. You have day 1 discipline, day 2 administrative. I thought we normally do administrative and then the discipline on the second day.
That's not been the way that it's been done in the past, Imelda. What day 1 is typically a Wednesday, and Wednesday on-site meetings was discipline. And
you know, yeah.
Thursday day 2 was the committee meeting report out and everything like that. So
yeah, I remember prior COVID, right? We had a
it's
whole
such a
day.
long time ago, isn't it?
I could hardly wait to go back in person, really. Okay, thank you. I have no objection. I have no objection to either one. Whichever one this board would prefer, I'm okay with either one.
I'm not available. I'll be out of the country that on January 20th, so I would prefer option 2, but I don't know how that works for other people.
I can give some background into why the multiple dates, and that comes down to the 10-day posting period. So if we have a meeting on January 13th, we have to have all materials posted in advance of January 3rd. That is usually the closeout of the end of the month and trying to grab everything together and have it prepared. It makes the earlier meeting dates fairly difficult for board staff to manage. We, of course, can and will if that is what the board chooses. What you could do, Mary, is if you wanted to adopt, if that was the only date that you have a conflict with, you could adopt the option 1, which allows for it to be the 3rd Wednesday or Thursday of the month. Then you could make a recommendation that that first January 20th meeting be moved. And so we would just adjust that one date.
That would
go for option 1 with that, with the option of possibly moving the January date to help accommodate your schedule, Mary?
That'd be great if it works for other people.
Any other comments or questions from the board?
Again, I have no preference. So, Mary, if you would like to make a motion for option 1 with a change,
Okay.
I'm okay with that.
Everybody else? Okay, so I'll make a motion that we adopt option number 1 with the change of the January 20th meeting to January 13th. Oh, that's committee meetings too. Yeah, to January 13th.
I will second your motion.
Okay. Any other comments or questions from the board? All right, is this something that we need to open up, Reza?
Each agenda item. So yes, it needs to be opened up.
Public comments. Aaron, our moderator, please open for public comment. Thank you.
We will be opening for public comment now. I will be activating the question and answer feature. Please refer to the screen share for members of the public to see how they should type in their request for comment. I've activated the question and answer feature. Members of the public can indicate that they would like to make a comment by typing into the question box, "I would like to make a comment." Please remember, you will have 2 minutes to make your comments. I will not give a reminder as your time approaches. I do not want to interrupt you, nor cause you to lose your train of thought. I will mute your microphone and inform you that your time has expired, and we'll move on to the next member of the public. I'll pause for a moment for members of the public to type in, "I would like to make a comment." Board President Trujillo, there are no public requests for comment. Would you like me to close this window?
Yes, please. Thank you. Okay, so we can take it to a vote. Voting for option 1. Dolores Trujillo votes yes. Mary?
Mary Fagan, yes.
Elizabeth Woods?
Woods, yes.
Imelda Ceja Blachowicz?
Elda, yes.
Jovita Dominguez?
Jovita Dominguez votes yes.
And Susan Naranjo.
Susan votes yes.
All right. Thank you.
Can I ask something before we go on to move on to item 7.0?
Sure.
I was wondering if we can go back to an agenda item. Find it. The item 5.3, the strategic plan for 2022 through 2025. I was wondering if I could add something or go back to that item. Reza, can I go back to that item? I would like to make a recommendation.
Yeah, Imelda, it's legally fine if you want to go back to it. It's up to the board itself. Doesn't sound like you're getting opposition to go back.
Yeah, go ahead, Imelda.
You can describe
Yeah,
it.
so sorry about that. You know, in the past, we have advocated, requested, begged that this board actually have legal counsel full-time assigned just to us. You know, we really need Reza or legal counsel to be assigned strictly to us. I know that the medical board, they have their own legal counsel. I don't know if it belongs in the strategic plan, but if it's there, you know, that's something that we could strive to get in the future. I just think we have a lot of work and we need our own legal counsel assigned to this board.
I just wanted to add clarification to that. I don't know if you're aware, but for everyone's benefit, so the legal affairs division within the Department of Consumer Affairs is where most of us attorneys to the boards and bureaus are, essentially all of the attorneys with the exception of the attorney for the Med Board and then the Bureau of Cannabis Control, which is now off on its own, had its own attorney. Apart from that, all of the DCA boards and bureaus attorneys are within the DCA Legal Affairs Division, which is where I work, as you know. I only represent as far as boards, BRN is my only board client. Prior to working with BRN, I had multiple boards as clients, like many of the attorneys in our office do. Once I transitioned to working with BRN, I no longer work with those other boards. I work with BRN exclusively and do some work for DCA itself, department level, which of course is for goes back out to the boards and bureaus. But as far as boards, BRN is my only board client. So I'm not sure if you're proposing, you know, that I work within the BRN's office or something different or someone else in addition or besides me or what it is exactly. But I just wanted to make that clarification that unlike many of the other boards, you do have me. Also, you have an assigned regulations counsel that our regulations unit within the Legal Affairs Division was fairly newly implemented, I think, within about a year, plus or minus. And so that took some time to get staffed up, but we do have an attorney who represents, in this case, a portfolio of clients, but including BRN for anything related to regulatory drafting and assistance with that. So, and then lastly, I as board counsel, I'm not really, I think the strategic planning process was overseen by Solid. You may remember having the strategic planning session that they led. So I can't say whether having, you know, recommending your own board counsel is something that's strategic plan item or whether that's just something separate that you take up. But so.
Well, thank you for that information. I was not aware. Are you only doing inside case reviews? I know in the past, you know, we had this issue where we didn't have a full-time legal counsel, and they were being split among a lot of different other boards. If that's a case that you are strictly assigned to BRN, that's awesome. But I also want to include in the strategic plan so that in the future you're not removed or split up in different boards. And again, I don't know if it belongs in the strategic plan. I think it would. That would assure that we definitely have a full-time legal counsel to this board.
So Imelda, this is Lori, and I could opine on that just to give you some background information. So yes, Reza is our only legal counsel. He is assigned strictly to the BRN, and that has been the case the year that he has been with us. He is correct in the fact that we do have legal counsel that works with us, our board on regulation specific, and that's Heather Hogenson, who presented earlier in talks of updating CCR 161484. Where this lives is with the budget change proposal, the BCP positions changes that we would then have to request that through a BCP for Reza to fall under the payroll directly from BRN and not through the pro rata through legal with DCA. It does not necessarily reside within our strategic plan. That is a BCP, that is a process that we have to do to get him as a position, as a staff of the BRN. And so that would have to go through a budget proposal. That was done in 1920 prior to me coming in this role, and it was denied. So if that is something that you would like to have it go through the budget change position proposal for a legal position to be underneath the BRN, that's something that we can look at for the next time that we do a BCP, which would be a year from now. Other than that, when looking at the strategic plan, the way that it was written out was solid, and that was accepted here by the board without any edits, is we can, it has to go to an implementation phase. So once we do this outline, if in that implementation phase that we will now write and bring back in front of the board for approval, if there are areas that strictly lead to this can be improved by having our own board's legal counsel that is actually employed by the BRN versus being employed by DCA serving the BRN, then we could include it in that implementation phase. But in the last year, it's been amazing having Reza in this role through DCA. And he is, again, just for clarification, only allowed for our board.
Thank you, Lori. So yeah, definitely we need to include it into our implementation phase.
As we go through the implementation phase, I will see where we can fit that in. I will present that once that is written and back to the board. And if there is not an easy place for that to fit in that actually fits and has evidence to support that need, of bringing it under our position control versus having it under DCA's position control, then I would ask for your input at that point to let us know where that would fit best.
Thank you, Lori. Great suggestion. Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
Okay, any other questions regarding that? Okay, so we can move on to item 7.0, report of the Nursing Practice Committee. And this is Elizabeth Woods.
This is Elizabeth Woods reporting, and this is the report of the Nursing Practice Committee. And 7.1 will be the discussion and possible action about the clinical practice experience required for nurse practitioner students enrolled in non-California-based nurse practitioner programs. And Janet Wackerly has worked diligently with this issue, and she is going to be presenting the various colleges and universities that this will affect. And Jeanette, are you there?
She is in our list of attendees, and our board moderator is working to bring her up to a participant.
Okay.
She has been promoted to panelist, so she has the ability to unmute and turn on her video.
Jeanette, are you there?
Mark, it's muted.
No, you're not.
No, I'm not. Oh, I'm so sorry. Excuse me.
It's all right.
Oh, dear. This is Jeanette Wackerly, nursing education consultant in the Sacramento office. Why am I echoing?
Jeanette, you need to turn off your microphone. Your speakers, if you have external speakers.
I do. Is that
Or you
better?
can use a headphone.
Yeah, use your headset.
I just have a little speaker there. Is it better, or is it, we're going to do this?
No, you have to mute it.
I have to mute?
Yes, that's why you're echoing.
I turned it off, Mark. Can you hear me?
There you go, much better.
Because I can't hear you. I can't hear you.
We can hear you, Jeanette.
Sugar.
Okay.
This is Jeanette Wackerly, Board of Registered Nursing. I'm here to give you the information about the out-of-state online nurse practitioner programs who are requesting through the practice committee for approval of their programs to present their curriculum with nurses that work and live in California, but the school is distant from California. The schools that are requesting: American Sentinel College of Nursing and Health Sciences at Post University, Family and Individual Across the Lifespan and Adult Gerontology Nurse Primary Care Nurse Practitioner, Chamberlain University, Family Individual Across the Lifespan, Jefferson College of Nursing. They are asking for Adult Gerontology, Primary and Acute, Pediatric Primary Care and Acute Care, and Women's Health and Gender Related. The third school is Johns Hopkins University, and they're requesting psychiatric mental health across the lifespan, adult gerontology, primary care and acute care, pediatric primary care and acute care, family individual across the lifespan, and adult gerontology. We go on with a number of other schools that are requesting. Lewis University is requesting family individual across the lifespan, psychiatric mental health across the lifespan, and adult gerontology, primary and acute. Rocky Mountain University is requesting family individual across the lifespan, psychiatric mental health across the lifespan. Next, we have University of Missouri, Kansas City. They're asking for psychiatric mental health across the lifespan. The next school is the University of Southern Indiana, adult gerontology, primary and acute care, family individual across the lifespan, psychiatric mental health across the lifespan. And the last university is called Wilkes University, and they're asking for adult gerontology, primary and acute care, psychiatric mental and health care across the lifespan, family individual across the lifespan. All of these schools have attested to meeting our regulations in 1486, and we have evidence in your packet that they meet those requirements. You also have a directory in your packet of the schools that I just went through. So the practice committee is asking the board to consider for approval the following schools that I just read.
And I would suggest that we accept this report and accept these schools. Do I have a second?
I second it, Patty.
And we need to open it up first to the public before we take the vote. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
All right. Then I would like to open it up to the public for any comment, please.
We'll be opening for public comment now. I will be activating the question and answer feature. Please refer to the screen share for members of the public to see how they should type in their request for comment. I've activated the question and answer feature. Members of the public can indicate that they would like to make a comment by typing into the question box, "I would like to make a comment." Please remember, you will have 2 minutes to make your comments. I will not give a reminder as your time approaches. I do not want to interrupt you nor cause you to lose your train of thought. I will mute your microphone and inform you that your time has expired, and we'll move on to the next member of the public. I'll pause for a moment for members of the public to type in, "I would like to make a comment." Committee Chair Woods, there are no public requests for comments. Would you like me to close this window?
Yes, please. I would like to take the vote now on accepting these schools as Janet Wackerly has enumerated here, and that we accept these students enrolled in non-California-based nurse practitioner educational programs. Woods votes yes.
Dolores Trujillo votes yes.
Imelda Seja Butkus, yes.
Mary Fagan, yes.
I believe it was for the committee members to vote, the nursing practice committee.
No, it is for the full board to vote, but I need to interrupt because we did not get a second.
Okay, I seconded it.
Oh, you did?
Yeah,
I missed that. I'm so sorry, Dolores. Thank you.
That's
So
okay.
thank you for seconding it, and then it's the full board voting.
So this is Susan, I vote yes. And this is Jovita Dominguez, votes yes.
I think that's everybody, no?
That's everyone, yeah.
So that has passed. Thank you. And that concludes the nursing practice portion here.
Thank you, Betty. Item 8.0, report of the Education Licensing Committee. Jovita Dominguez, chairperson, is up.
Good afternoon. This is Jovita Dominguez, the chair and of the ELC, and I have Mary Ann McCarthy, our NEC, that will be with us through this through these points to discuss the possible action regarding whether the board should accept the ELC recommendations to ratify minor curriculum revisions and acknowledge receipts of program progress reports, and whether to accept the ELC recommendations to ratify clinical facilities approvals and other actions. Thank you, Mary Ann.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, everyone. According agenda item 8.1, according to board policy, nursing education consultants may approve minor curriculum changes that do not significantly alter philosophy, objectives, or content. Approvals must be reported to the Education Licensing Committee and to the board. Minor curriculum revisions include the following categories: curriculum changes, work study programs, preceptor programs, public health nurse certificate programs, and a list of schools who have submitted minor curriculum revisions, clinical agency or facility approvals, and program progress reports that have been approved by the nursing education consultants are in your materials packet as the tables named the same: minor curriculum revisions, clinical agency or facility approvals, and program progress reports. This is a consent agenda item. Jovita, would you like to make a motion?
Yes, I would like to motion that we accept the what you have just mentioned. And is would any of our other board members like to second, please?
I'll second it, Woods.
And any board member comments? Thank you. Moderator, could you open it for public comment, please?
We will be opening for public comment now. I will be activating the question and answer feature. Please refer to the screen share for members of the public to see how they should type in their request for comment. I've activated the question and answer feature. Members of the public can indicate that they would like to make a comment by typing into the question box, "I would like to make a comment." Please remember, you will have 2 minutes to make your comments. I will not give a reminder as your time approaches. I do not want to interrupt you nor cause you to lose your train of thought. I will mute your microphone and inform you that your time has expired, and we'll move on to the next member of the public. I'll pause for a moment for members of the public to type in, "I would like to make a comment." Committee Chair Dominguez, there are no public requests for comment. Would you like me to close this window?
Please, moderator, close the window. I would like to call for a vote. I, Jovita Dominguez, votes yes. President Dolores Trujillo,
I vote yes.
Vice President Mary Fagan,
Mary Fagan votes yes.
Imelda Ceja Bukowitz,
Imelda votes yes.
Betty Woods,
Woods, yes.
Susan Naranjo.
Susan, yes.
Thank you. So the next agenda item, I believe, is 8.2, Marianne?
Yes, agenda item 8.2, discussion and possible action regarding education licensing committee recommendations as follows. 8.2.1, discussion and possible action regarding whether the board should accept the education licensing committee recommendation of continuing approval or other action for approved pre-licensure nursing programs. The BRN staff have conducted a regularly scheduled continuing approval visit. This process begins with a written self-study by the nursing program and analyzed by the assigned nursing education consultant. This is followed by a 2 to 3 day site visit, including visits to clinical sites, verification of resources, meetings with students, faculty, and administrators. The following listed programs have met all board rules and regulations for continuing approval of a pre-licensure nursing program and are consent agenda items. This concludes my report on 8.2.
I motion that we accept the following schools on our agenda for 8.2.1. Is there a second?
It's Mary, I second.
Thank you. Any board member have comments? We could move to the moderator. Would you please take us to the public comment?
We will be opening for public comment now. I will be activating the question and answer feature. Please refer to the screen share for members of the public to see how they should type in their request for comment. I've activated the question and answer feature. Members of the public can indicate that they would like to make a comment by typing into the question box, "I would like to make a comment." Please remember, you will have 2 minutes to make your comments. I will not give a reminder as your time approaches. I do not want to interrupt you nor cause you to lose your train of thought. I will mute your microphone and inform you that your time has expired, and we'll move on to the next member of the public. I'll pause for a moment for members of the public to type in, "I would like to make a comment." Committee Chair Dominguez, there are no public requests for comment. Would you like me to close this window?
Yes, please close the window. Then I would like to call for a vote, and I, Jovita Dominguez, would vote yes. President Dolores Trujillo,
Dolores votes yes.
Vice President Mary Fagan,
Mary votes yes.
Betty Woods,
Woods, yes.
Imelda Ceja Bakowitz,
Elda, yes.
Susan Aranco.
Susan, yes.
Okay, that'll take us to 8.22. Marianne?
Thank you. Agenda item 8.2.2, discussion and possible action regarding whether the board should accept the Education and Licensing Committee recommendation of continuing approval or other action following a new pre-licensure nursing program first interim visit 1 year after program start. The Bureau and staff have conducted a first interim visit 1 year after the start of a new pre-licensure nursing program for Brandman University. The process began with a report from the program reviewed by the assigned nursing education consultant. This was followed by a visit to confirm clinical sites, verify resources, and to meet with students, faculty, and administration. Brandman University Baccalaureate Degree Nursing Program has met all board rules and regulations for a first interim visit 1 year after program start and is a consent agenda item.
Thank you. I'd like to motion to accept. Do I have a second?
I second Jovita. This is
Thank
Dolores.
Thank you. Any board member comments? Moderator, could you take us to public comment?
We will be opening for public comment now. I will be activating the question and answer feature. Please refer to screen share for members of the public to see how they should type in the request for comment. I've activated the question and answer feature. Members of the public can indicate that they would like to make a comment by typing into the question box, "I would like to make a comment." Please remember, you will have 2 minutes to make your comments. I will not give a reminder as your time approaches. I do not want to interrupt you nor cause you to lose your train of thought. I will mute your microphone and inform you that your time has expired, and we'll move on to the next member of the public. I'll pause for a moment for members of the public to type in, "I would like to make a comment." Committee Chair Dominguez, there are no public requests for comment. Would you like me to close this window?
Yes, please. I'd like to take it to a vote. I, Jovita Dominguez, votes yes. President Dolores Trujillo,
Dolores Trujillo votes yes.
Vice President Mary Fagan,
Mary Fagan, yes.
Betty Woods,
Woods, yes.
Imelda Ceja Bakowitz,
Elda, yes.
Susan Aranco.
Susan, yes.
Thank you. This brings us to 8.2.3. Marianne?
Thank you. Agenda item 8.2.3. Discussion and possible action regarding whether the board should accept the Education and Licensing Committee recommendation of continuing approval or other action for an advanced practice program. BRN staff have conducted a regularly scheduled continuing approval visit for an advanced practice degree nursing program. The process began with a self-study written by the program and analyzed by the assigned nursing education consultant. This was followed by a 2 to 3 day visit to visit practicum sites, verify resources, and meetings with students, faculty, and administration. The following program has met all board rules and regulations for continuation of approval of an advanced practice program. This is a consent agenda item and concludes my report.
Thank you. I would like to motion to accept. Do I have a second?
Woods, seconds.
Thank you. Any board member comments? Moderator, could you take us to public comment?
We will be opening for public comment now. I will be activating the question and answer feature. Please refer to the screen share for members of the public to see how they should type in their request for comment. I've activated the question and answer feature. Members of the public can indicate that they would like to make a comment by typing into the question box, "I would like to make a comment." Please remember, you will have 2 minutes to make your comments. I will not give a reminder as your time approaches. I do not want to interrupt you nor cause you to lose your train of thought. I will mute your microphone and inform you that your time has expired and will move on to the next member of the public. I'll pause for a moment for members of the public to type in, "I would like to make a comment." Committee Chair Dominguez, there are no public requests for comment. Would you like me to close this window?
Yes, please. And I'd like to take it to a vote. I, Jovita Dominguez, votes yes. President Dolores Trujillo,
Dolores Trujillo votes yes.
Vice President Mary Fagan,
Mary Fagan, yes.
Betty Woods,
Woods, yes.
Imelda Ceja Bakowitz,
Imelda, yes.
Susan Naranjo.
Susan, yes.
Thank you. It brings us to 8.2.4. Marianne?
Thank you. Agenda item 8.2.4. Discussion and possible action regarding whether the board should accept the Education Licensing Committee recommendation of approval or other action regarding pre-licensure nursing program unit adjustment or other changes. These are major curriculum revisions with no enrollment increase. The BRN staff have evaluated the major curriculum revision requests. The following programs have met all board rules and regulations for a major curriculum revision without an enrollment increase for a pre-licensure nursing program are consent agenda items. This concludes my report.
Thank you. I would like to motion to accept. Do I have a second?
Mary Fagan, second.
Thank you. Board member comments? Moderator, could you take us to public comment, please?
We will be opening for public comment now. I will be activating the question and answer feature. Please refer to the screen share for members of the public to see how they should type in their request for comment. I've activated the question and answer feature. Members of the public can indicate that they would like to make a comment by typing into the question box, "I would like to make a comment." Please remember, you will have 2 minutes to make your comments. I will not give a reminder as your time approaches. I do not want to interrupt you nor cause you to lose your train of thought. I will mute your microphone and inform you that your time has expired and we'll move on to the next member of the public. I'll pause for a moment for members of the public to type in, "I would like to make a comment." Committee Chair Dominguez, there are no public requests for comment. Would you like me to close this window?
Yes, please. I'd like to call for a vote. I, Jovita Dominguez, votes yes. President Dolores Trujillo,
Dolores Trujillo votes yes.
Vice President Mary Fagan,
Mary Fagan, yes.
Betty Woods,
Woods, yes.
Imelda Ceja Bakowitz,
Imelda, yes.
Susan Naranjo.
Susan, yes.
Thank you. Brings us to 8.3. Marianne?
Thank you very much. Agenda item 8.3. Discussion and possible action regarding recommendation to accept program progress report with discussion and possible action to discuss any performance gaps, including actions described in 16 CCR Section 1423.2, Subdivision A, for East Los Angeles College Associate Degree Nursing Program. I am the nursing education consultant for East Los Angeles College, and I will be presenting this program. Joining me on the line is Dr. Alberto Roman, the president of ELAC, Dr. Laura Cantu, the dean, and Jane Belmonte, who is the interim program director. At the November 2019 board meeting, ELAC was put on boarding status with the intent to close. At the May 2021 board meeting, ELAC enrollment for fall 2021 was paused by the board. At the June 16, 2021 board meeting, ELAC requested reconsideration of the paused fall 2021 enrollment. The board deferred any decision at that time. ELAC is required to report at each ELC and board meeting. This report for this meeting were submitted by the college administration and the nursing program. I met with the ELAC leadership team in July of 2021 and have the following report. Fall 2021 enrollment has been paused to allow for faculty development. Fall 2021 admitted students have been offered a spot in the spring 2022 cohort, and summer courses not in the nursing curriculum are offered at no cost in the fall of 2021. The faculty summer 2021 curriculum work has begun with their new consultant, Mia Minato. A permanent director position application window has closed, and candidates have been under review, and a new director was planned to be hired by August 2021. I am going to allow the program to give an update on this following my report. The vacant skills lab position continues in the hiring process. Assistant Director Jay Belmonte is the interim director until August 1st, 2021. And again, I'm going to allow the program to give an update. Martha Garcia is the second assistant director. The vacant administrative assistant position has been filled. Faculty education and training has begun with Mio Minato. One faculty position is in the hiring process to be completed for fall of 2021. And faculty overload will be eliminated, and overload is being monitored by Dean Cantu. This concludes my report, and the ELAC leadership is available to answer questions and give an update. Thank you. Dr. Roman?
Yes, thank you so much, Ms. McCarthy, Dr. McCarthy, members of the board. Again, as per the report given, we've been very busy this summer working on putting together some of the components that were outlined by the board that need to be addressed. One of the things that I wanted to add to Ms. McCarthy's report, if I can, is that we did have interviews for a new program director to be slated to start this month. We went through that process. We had first level, second level interviews with myself and Dr. Cantu. We made a job offer to a very strong candidate. Unfortunately, that candidate opted not to take the position. However, we do have another candidate that we have submitted to Ms. McCarthy for to ensure that that person does indeed meet the qualifications to be a program director. We have received feedback to that end, and we're going to be pursuing, interviews for this particular candidate. In the meantime, we do have Ms. Belmonte, Jade Belmonte, serving as interim program director. She has been with the program for many years. We have full confidence that she can continue to serve in this role until we do, in fact, identify the permanent program director. There will be other options to consider. However, we were hopeful that we would have the position filled in reporting to you today. We understand sometimes, people change decisions about whether or not to assume a position. And so this is something that we were obviously not expecting. But that being said, again, we have a contingency plan to make sure that we have that position filled, and hoping that we will be able to have a report of a permanent program director next time we report to you. As was stated, we've had several updates to you regarding curriculum updates. We did hire somebody that we have, certainly a lot of respect for, having worked in this field for many years. Mio Minato has been working with our faculty over the summer on their particular areas in curriculum development, and we're very pleased with the progress that we made on that end, all to be prepared certainly to start with the new courses when they begin. We did meet with students regarding the pause. We put a contingency plan together to offer courses that are, we call it value added to the program. They're not part of the program, but certainly will help them and prepare them better as they enter the program. We believe the majority of the students will be going through that, and they will, hopefully with everything being aligned, begin their cohort in spring of 21. We did fill the classified position as been reported. We're working to fill a second classified position. That should happen in the next couple of weeks. And we're doing some in-person courses that will be available for this fall, as I think it's reported in the written report that you have. So again, been very busy, have made significant progress. Dr. Laura Cantu the Dean assigned, has been working very closely with our staff and faculty, and of course with Dr. McCarthy. So we will be continuing our work in the fall, given the pause that we have. And we feel fully confident that we'll be able to pursue our spring cohort, having met all of the particular areas that have been outlined for us to work on in this summer and into the fall. So with that, if you'll indulge me, I'll ask Dr. Laura Cantu, our Dean, to see if there's anything else she'd like to add to the report. I don't know if she has capability to speak.
Mark has Dr. Cantu and Ms. Belmonte.
Hello. Everyone's been unmuted.
Thank you so much. I think we heard you. Go ahead, Laura.
This is Jade. May I speak?
Sure, go ahead, Jade.
Well, thank you for the opportunity to speak. My name is Jade Belmonte, acting as Interim Director and also nursing faculty here at East. First of all, I would really like to take the opportunity to share that we are very pleased to have a strong support from our administration. I would like to thank Mary Ann for her continuous support to us. Our dean is very, very supportive and has gone above and beyond for her duty to assist me for this role and provide us resources, as well as our president listening to our concerns and learning about our program. He has given us the time to meet and develop strategies to enhance the program and our pass rate. Our curriculum review with Ms. Mio Minato has shown that we, the faculty, are implementing the approved curriculum from last year. She only has like minor recommendations or tweaks to improve the curriculum. So I would really like to clarify that. We do have an approved curriculum and we are teaching to the curriculum. Therefore, there is no we are not working on a second curriculum. We are also participating in the RNCC, and faculty have been involved with identifying professional development opportunity in July and August, especially the support of our administration to find funding to attend courses that would require registration fee. I am speaking as an interim director, but I'm sure many faculty would share the same sentiment and agree with the comment that I made today. I second what the president has said. We have really been working hard this summer, improving our curriculum and participating in many professional development. Thank you so much for listening.
Thank you, Jay. I also wanted to bring to your attention the materials. I think that it was Mary Fagan who had asked for a breakdown of each quarter And I think that was in the report, but we also added a page that showed that breakdown specifically for the first-time pass rates for each quarter of the most recent year.
And I believe Dr. Cantu is having some audio issues, so she is here, but I believe we're not able to hear her, so I apologize for those technical difficulties.
No worries. Thanks for letting us know. Are there any other questions, or would you like to make a motion?
I wonder, this is Mary Fagan, I wonder if the elect administrator would want to speak to the most recent NCLEX results. It looks like they're down to 52%.
Yeah, thank you for the question. I think, again, part of the adjustments that we made, and certainly it's the point that the BRN as well as the administration made on how we're following the program as a 2-year cycle. The adjustments that were made more recently are not reflective of, obviously, the students that are testing now. We had said from the beginning that this is a 2-year process, whereby we believe that with the new curriculum being implemented in the fall of last year, going into the second year, in all of the necessary components that we put in place will allow us to reflect better NCLEX scores. Again, one of the things that, as I was listening earlier to your conversations, is about the ability to make sure that as soon as students complete the program, we do in fact engage them in ensuring that they're taking the NCLEX score immediately, and that they do have the appropriate supports. Where we have additional programs that help them prepare for the scores. But I anticipate that having had the curriculum revisions adopted going into the next year, for the second year of the students that are now indeed obviously benefiting from the curriculum, our NCLEX scores will indeed improve significantly. So again, it's a 2-year process, and we certainly understand that this is an area that we will definitely be focusing on moving forward, and we'll continue to do so. But I think these scores, again, are reflective of, in part, some of the older processes that were in place at the time.
Thank you.
May I add something?
Yes, please.
Sure, Jay. Go
Okay. To add on what Dr. Roman mentioned, we are also forming we have a committee. We're looking at revamping the student success strategies. We have started implementing ATI. We are also going to start implementing HERST and looking into UWorld. We have, as Dr. Roman mentioned, filling in the med-surg faculty position. And we're hoping that this would help us, not looking, but we are going to make sure that these strategies will help us improve our NCLEX scores. And also we have implemented the new admission criteria that started in fall 2020. We have a strong group of students coming from that, using that admission criteria. Thank you.
I have a question about the attrition rate. What is the percentage of attrition in the school, and for what reasons?
Yeah, and again, sorry.
Go ahead, Dr. Mann.
Okay, yeah, thank you. Let me give some general answers here, and Jade certainly fill in the blanks. I think in the past, some of the internal processes in terms of whether or not students would be allowed to repeat courses was, I think, a factor in terms of impacting our attrition rates. That has been changed now. Also, what has changed is our criteria and eligibility for accepting students. Obviously, we moved away from the lottery system into a a different criteria-based process where we are indeed selecting students that we believe will be those students that can be successful in this type of program. That's been important for us because we want to make sure students are set up for success and not failure. And I think it's important on the initial vetting of the students that are accepted to the program that there is criteria that they meet. It's a rigorous program, and we want to make sure that those that are accepted into the program have the ability to complete it in a successful way. Those things have changed, and I think you're going to see again higher success rate just because of the initial vetting process on the front end, as well as repeatability, of course. Program Director Belmonte, you have anything else to add to that?
Yes. We found that many of our students do have personal issues, caring for family members, financial difficulty, childcare issues, which affects them from completing the courses. Our attrition is low, like less than 10%, but these are like personal issues. And so we think that having revamping that student success advisor can help assist with students in terms of like maybe time management and navigating through the program, considering we can't really solve like their personal issues, but maybe help them and assist them while navigating the program.
Were they dropping out of courses because they were failing the courses? Do you have any information about exactly why people were leaving?
Some of them, some of them are having difficulty with the courses due to their personal and family situation. And that's why we believe having the student success advisor will help them navigate through the program, managing between their personal situation and going through the program. So it's not to answer your question, not necessarily failing, but they are having challenges, and that's why they're dropping.
So this is Dolores, board president. What type of assistive services are you offering these students to help them face the challenges that they face at home as well as in school?
As far as helping them with the courses and time management, we are referring them to our current student success advisor. We also need a social worker case manager to address equity issues. If the president has any other.
Let me add to this
Yeah,
if
sure.
I can. I think recently we also identified, through our own, we partner here with Vacate, which is the agency that provides, mental health and support services for our students. And what that means is could be an array of issues from dealing with stress, dealing with grief, dealing with the pandemic, frustration, anxiety, a lot of the things that I think most of our students, not just our nursing students, but most of our students have been suffering with. So we have assigned dedicated resources for our nursing program students to make sure that they have access to this type of support. Because as our program director, Belmonte, mentioned, a lot of it is not necessarily tied to their ability to complete the courses, but rather to personal things that have impacted their ability to continue with school or focus on school because of the fact that they're dealing with so many personal issues resulting from the pandemic. So there is allocated resources as we move forward to make sure that our students are getting that kind of support. There's obviously support for the academic component, but I think at this point we're dealing with obviously issues associated with more of the personal stuff that Chair Monte is talking about. So that component's now in place. And again, it's important for us to be able to refer students to get that kind of support. So that's ongoing now.
This is Jovita Dominguez. I'm just, I do want to say that I'm happy to hear that you will have a social worker to help you. Sometimes students don't realize that the commitment going to nursing school is not like taking prerequisites. It takes, I don't know how many times more. I can even say 10 times more regular classes versus nursing school. It's not, I'm pretty sure us on the board that have gone through nursing school, and Mary Fagan has done way beyond that too, being a nurse practitioner. It's very hard for a student to, I mean, they'll see the syllabus, but don't realize that, you know, if they work, that's going to be an enormous ball and chain, if for a lack of a better word. And that's how I see some of the students that don't really realize how much of a commitment going to nursing school is.
Yeah, but remember, Dominguez, I couldn't agree with you more. And that's really what our orientation process now entails. Really, students understanding the rigor that's involved in these programs, the level of attention, the level of commitment, the number of hours that they'll have to dedicate to be successful. And again, it goes back to the conversation about the criteria to be accepted to the program, because quite frankly, we do have varying student needs, but we have to make sure that the students that are selected are those that we believe have the right meet the right criteria to be successful. We don't want to set up students for failure, and that's part of the conversations that happen at the beginning to really help them understand what kind of program they're getting themselves into, and whether or not that's really a commitment they can make. Because it is a rigorous program, and it's different, to your point, than other programs they could take care at East Los Angeles College or any college for that matter.
Lori, do you have any insight, since you were an NEC at this particular college?
Yeah, I will. I'll definitely jump in. I am excited to see what is done during this time that you guys are taking a pause in enrollments to see what is being addressed. I do want to point out that this was an area of concern at the last continuing approval visit after meeting with staff, when staff was saying that the issue that they were up against in the success of the students was based on the demographic of the student and the struggles that they have. I want to point out that LA City College is 10.8 miles away from ELAC. Their last two pass rates, excuse me, for LA City College have been 96.72% for their annual pass rate. And then the most recent one is 92.21%, with the same demographic of students, with the same personal issues and the same financial issues, etc. Additionally, ELAC is part of a 7-member district. I can give the pass rates from LA Trade Tech, which is, again, identical demographic. LA Trade Tech in the same district had an 87.88% pass rate. And then the last annual one was 80.95% pass rate. All of these NCLEX pass rates are viewable on our board's website, and you can see them. And so I really just want to caution that when you guys are looking at this, that you're looking at the support that you guys can give the students that are currently enrolled, not the students that will be enrolled, the students that are currently taking the currently approved board curriculum, and not the curriculum that will be implemented or changed to. I remember in the June board meeting, the discussion was around what kind of NCLEX prep and NCLEX support that you guys would be giving the students that are graduating and getting ready to take their boards now. I was disheartened to see the pass rates for this last quarter. We were promised higher pass rates, predicted higher pass rates during this time. And so I really just want to encourage you guys to continue to improve, continue to work on this. It is very, very difficult. Talk to your sister schools. Talk to the schools that have the same demographic that are getting that results, and see what you guys can do to come together. I know that LA Trade and LA City have some of the same struggles. I also know that ELAC has an amazing foundation that is on your campus and able to help the students that are enrolled. So you guys are a school that serves that community, that does have a need to continue. But I really want to see what you guys are doing for the students that are currently enrolled, so that the next graduating class can be successful, and that we don't get another pass rate for first-time test takers next quarter in the 50s again. That's just such a blow to those students and the students' families. And really, with that, if you have, the pass rates here on our board materials, you had 19 students that took that test and only 10 of them passed. That is almost half. And so it is, those students put 2 years of their life into this, and sometimes even more than that, because of the prerequisites that they took to get into that school, the waiting lists that they stayed on to wait for this, and to have them have a degree that they cannot utilize because they haven't passed the NCLEX is really sad. So we are here to support you. We're here to help you. Please keep in contact with your NEC. If you need any assistance from me, I'm here. I will be happy to help, because you guys are going in the right direction, but we do need to get you more in that right direction. The students that are graduating next semester, I would like to see their pass rates go above 52.
Thank you, Lori. Any other questions or comments from the board?
May I comment?
Go ahead, Jay.
Oh, thank you so much, Ms. Melby. And I do agree that we cannot solely use demographics as a reason for low NCLEX scores. But speaking personally, being in this position for only a month, I could say that one thing that is different from now to the past is the leadership that we have. And I don't want to bring up dirt or ruminate about the past, but our faculty now are fully involved when we were not given that opportunity in the past. Our faculty administration are communicating with sister schools, looking at what they're doing, taking advice, which is something that we were not able to do in the past, just because we weren't given the opportunity. So we are collaborating internally, we are collaborating externally. And so I could speak that that is one thing that we are doing differently now, and hopefully, can change, improve our pass rates. But we guarantee you that we are doing our best to assist this cohort that is graduating, to make sure that they will pass the first time. Thank you.
Thank you. That is wonderful news. I know that you guys are doing your best, and I am absolutely in 100% support that you've brought on Mia Minato as the consultant. I know that she will definitely be an asset to you guys.
Thank you. Thank you.
Vita, would you like to make a
I think she's on mute. She was talking, but couldn't hear her.
I'm so sorry. Yes, I didn't realize I was on mute. Sorry about that.
No problem.
Yes, thank you. I motion that we accept their progress and hope to see improvements as we go. Would anybody second that, please?
I will second it, Jovita. This is
Thank you.
Dolores.
Thank you, Dolores. And I believe that board members have already commented. Any other comments from the board?
When are we going to reevaluate this program?
Betty, they come to every ELC and every board meeting. They're required to report at every one. So we will see them again in October, November.
Okay, great.
Then I believe we can go to public comment, moderator, please.
We will be opening for public comment now. I will be activating the question and answer feature. Please refer to the screen share for members of the public to see how they should type in their request for comment. I've activated the question and answer feature. Members of the public can indicate that they would like to make a comment by typing into the question box. I would like to make a comment. Please remember, you will have 2 minutes to make your comments. I will not give a reminder as your time approaches. I do not want to interrupt you nor cause you to lose your train of thought. I will mute your microphone and inform you that your time has expired, and we'll move on to the next member of the public. I'll pause for a moment for members of the public to type in, I would like to make a comment. Kathy Hughes would like to make a comment. 1 second, please. Go ahead, Ms. Hughes.
Hi, this is Catherine Hughes, the Executive Director of the Nurse Alliance of SEIU California. And I just have a quick question because I don't have the materials in front of me and you may not be able to answer it. But of the 19 test takers, were they all recent grads that were testing within the 90 days? Or because I remember at one of the previous meetings, the percentages dropped because they had a test taker that had graduated quite some time prior to test taking. So I was just curious about that statistic. Thank you.
Mio Minato would like to make a comment. 1 second, please. Go ahead, Mio.
Thank you for the opportunity to speak to the board. I've been working with the faculty members since June, and we've been working very hard reviewing all of the components of the curriculum. And so I have had the opportunity to speak actually with all faculty members, and they are very dedicated and working very hard to make changes. So based on my experience in reviewing curriculum, it appears that they do have outcomes and syllabi that meet what they're planning to do. And so one of the things that we said we needed to do now is really get specifics as to what concerns the NEC has related to the curriculum itself that she would like to see. The other thing is we are also now, next meeting is to work on the total program evaluation plan and how to keep tracking the progress. So I think you can be sure that all components of the curriculum and outcome evaluation will be in place, hopefully during the fall semester for sure. So thank you.
Thank you, Mio. Committee Chair Dominguez, there are no other public requests for comment. Would you like me to close this window?
Yes, please. I'd like to take it to a vote. Jovita Dominguez votes yes. President Dolores Trujillo,
Dolores Trujillo votes yes.
Vice President Mary Fagan,
Mary Fagan votes yes.
Betty Woods,
Woods, yes.
Imelda Ceja Buckowitz,
Melba, yes.
Susan Naranjo.
Susan, yes.
Thank you. That brings us to 8.4. Marianne?
Thank you very much. Agenda item 8.4, discussion and possible action regarding whether the board should accept the Education Licensing Committee's recommendation of continuing approval or other action for an approved pre-licensure nursing program. Los Angeles City College Associate Degree Nursing Program. This program will be presented by Donna Schutte, Nursing Education Consultant. Donna?
Good afternoon, everyone. This is Dr. Donna Schutte, Nursing Education Consultant. And with me today from LA City College, our college president, Dr. Mary Gallagher, the vice president of academic affairs, Dr. Jim Lancaster, and the program director, Dr. Christiana Bascaron. At the November 18, 2020 board meeting, the BRN voted to take no action regarding the program. Deferred status was to continue until the last two of the 4 areas of noncompliance identified during their October 2019 continuing approval visit were resolved. At this time, the 2 remaining and thus all areas have been brought into compliance. Regarding CCR Section 1424D resources, academic counselors are in place, along with a simulation coordinator and a full-time instructional assistant for the lab. Regarding CCR Section 1424H faculty type and number, the full-time tenure track psych mental health nursing faculty position was filled spring 2021, and an additional full-time tenure track med-surg faculty has been hired for fall 2021. The program summary report is included with meeting materials. Quarterly reports were submitted as requested, and they are on file with the BRN. The NCLEX pass rates for the program over the past 2 years are strong at 92.21% and 91.55%. This concludes my report. The program representatives are here to answer any questions and to provide any follow-up comments to support the request for the program's return to continuing approval status by the board. Thank you.
Thank you. I motion that we accept. Would anybody who would like to second?
I'll second. It's Mary.
Thank you, Mary. Any comments from the board? Then we can go, moderator, would you take us to public comment, please?
We will be opening for public comment now. I will be activating the question and answer feature. Please refer to the screen share for members of the public to see how they should type in their request for comment. I've activated the question and answer feature. Members of the public can indicate they would like to make a comment by typing into the question box, "I would like to make a comment." Please remember you will have 2 minutes to make your comments. I will not give a reminder as your time approaches. I do not want to interrupt you nor cause you to lose your train of thought. I will mute your microphone and inform you that your time has expired, and we'll move on to the next member of the public. I'll pause for a moment for members of the public to type in, "I would like to make a comment." Brenda Chan would like to make a comment. 1 second, please. Go ahead, Ms. Chan.
Thank you, moderator. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am. Go ahead.
Yes, thank you for this opportunity. I just want to piggyback onto what our president and our interim director had mentioned about our students. So with COVID, actually a few students do have family members being severely, affected, even they passed away. So that affected them greatly. And
Brenda?
affected them. Yes.
We're on agenda item with Los Angeles City College. Are you speaking to East Los Angeles?
I'm speaking to East Los Angeles because earlier I typed in I would like to make a comment. I was not called on. So BRN moderator called on me. So if I am allowed to continue, I will. If not, it's okay. Thank you. Let me know.
No, let me just check with Reza just because of formality. No problem for me. Hold on.
This is Reza. I think it would be fine to allow her to go ahead and make her comment. I don't want somebody to be deprived of the opportunity. I don't know that there was any action taken with ELAC that would change in light of the public comment. If so, you can revisit it, but otherwise, I think it's perfectly fine to allow her to make her comment. And
Great, thank you. I just wanted to make sure everyone knew too that she's referring to East Los Angeles College and not the current agenda item, Los Angeles City College, which is 8. Go ahead, Brenda.
Thank you so much, Dr. McCarthy. Thank you for that clarification. So again, COVID caused, many lives to be lost, and so students are being affected. Also, another response to one of the board member asking about the stats, the graduation date of the students. So looking at the stats right now for the 10 out of the 19 that passed, 2 were from earlier classes. One was from October 2019 graduate class, and another one is from a December 2018 class. For the 9 students that did not pass, one is from the October 2019 class. So, and some students from the December 2020 is still waiting for ATT, and we'll provide, the stats once we have the results. Thank you so much for this opportunity to provide this information.
Thank you, Ms. Chan. Committee Chair Dominguez. There are no public requests for comments. Would you like me to close this window?
Yes, please. So,
Chairperson Dominguez, I don't know if the program itself, the representatives have any comments to give you. I don't know if you would like to ask them. It's up to you, but I do know that they're here.
Yes, I'm sorry, I didn't know that they were. If Reza, yes, if Reza, would that be okay?
sure, absolutely. If they want to make a comment, I don't believe it's obligatory, but sure, they have the chance to.
Yes, thank you. Go ahead.
Hello, this is Christiana Bhaskaran. I'm the Director of Nursing. I concur everything what Dr. Shudy reported, and thank you for helping us to move forward. And I also have the Dean with me, Dr. Rivera, here as well. We don't have any additional comments at this point unless the Dean wants to make anything.
What's the dean's name?
Dr. Armando Rivera Figueroa.
Oh, sorry.
Good afternoon, board. Thank you so much. I just want to say thank you to Dr. Loretta because she started this efforts with us, and now to Dr. Shooting. It took us a little while, but we got there, I think. We are very happy at nursing right now at City College, and we hope to continue growing. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Jovita?
Okay, thank you. I believe we can close, moderator, we can close for public comment, and we can take it to a vote. I, Jovita Dominguez, votes yes. President Dolores Trujillo?
Dolores Trujillo votes yes.
Vice President Mary Fagan?
Mary Fagan, yes.
Betty Woods?
Woods, yes.
Imelda Ceja Bakowitz?
Melba, yes.
Susan Naranjo?
Susan, yes.
Thank you. I believe that takes us to 8.4. Marianne?
May I interrupt briefly?
Oh.
This is Reza.
Yes.
For the board members, I just want to address an issue of scheduling and timing and all that. It's about 4 o'clock. We're scheduled to 5 today, and we are scheduled for tomorrow if we run over today, which, looking at what we have ahead of us on the agenda, it's looking like tomorrow will likely be, almost certainly, the meeting will continue. We have one item in closed session where you will have a speaker joining us. That person has been on standby, and I would just like to, that person is available the rest of the afternoon today. Tomorrow is also available, except between the hours of 9 and 12. So if this rolls over into tomorrow, we would have to address that closed session item after noon, which, looking at what's ahead, we may still be going afternoon tomorrow. I don't know, but otherwise the alternative would be, if you don't really want to take the chance, then maybe cut off the open session at whatever time you think appropriate, say 4:30 or whatever you think is best. Go into closed session at that point for the rest of the day to take that one agenda item while our speaker's available, and then pick up tomorrow in open session where we left off. Again, you don't necessarily have to change course right now or today and go into closed session, but just keep in mind that if that closed session item remains for tomorrow, it will have to be afternoon, which right now it looks like it may well be possible and probable that we'll still be here afternoon tomorrow. But I just wanted to put that out there as we are kind of approaching towards the end of the day today, and give you that to think about and to decide what to do.
Thank you very much for that input, Reza. It would be a good idea if they do choose to do that to finish the ELC committee. We are just a few agenda items away from finishing, then go to closed session. We can open up tomorrow with the EIC and legislative committees if that is something that the board decides to do.
Board members, do you have any suggestions? I actually can go either way.
I think that's a great idea, Lori.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. I have a hard stop at 5 today, and also I have a conflict tomorrow, 12 to 1. But other than that, I'm available.
I have a conflict with tomorrow. I will not be at tomorrow's meeting.
Maybe we should do the closed session at 4:30 then.
Yeah, because we will. Yeah, we will all be here. But other than, I believe, was that Mary that has to leave it by 5?
I do. Yeah, Mary.
So it may be something, again, I think it would be only the one item that we would take in closed session today, and then the rest of the items in closed session would be tomorrow, as I'm understanding it. So if you want to say, 4:30 or 4:40, that probably will leave enough time for us to get in closed session and deal with that one item. And hopefully that'll leave enough time for ELC to get through what it needs to.
Okay, well, let's go ahead and see what we can get through by 4:30.
Oh, yes.
Thank you. Sorry for the interruption.
Thanks, Reza.
Dr. McCarthy, do you want to take us to 8.4 then?
Yes, actually, we're on agenda item 8.5.
Oh, so sorry.
Oh, no, it's no problem. Discussion and possible action regarding whether the board should accept the program progress report recommendation for San Bernardino Valley College Associate Degree Nursing Program. This program is going to be presented by Donna Schutte, Nursing Education Consultant. Donna, you are welcome to be on camera if you choose.
Okay, I am fine. I have some issues with connectivity, so I'll just stay with audio. And I am the assigned, and I am the assigned NEC for San Bernardino Valley College. And with me today is the Dean of the Interim Dean of Science, Dr. John Stankus, and also the Program Director, Yolanda Simital. And on February 12th, 2021, Yolanda Simital was approved as the program director following the resignation of Program Director Sana Masad on February 9th, 2021. Upon follow-up of the resignation, the program was found to be in non-compliance in 6 regulations. College and program administration moved quickly to resolve the areas of non-compliance. The program's response action plan is available for review in attachment 2. The last 2 areas brought into compliance focused on CCR Section 1424D, sufficient resources, and Section 1424H, faculty type and number. The program has hired an additional part-time nursing success coordinator, and 4 full-time tenure-track faculty have been hired, 1 each in obstetrics and psychiatric mental health, and 2 in med-surg. The 4 new faculty members are BRN approved at the instructor level. The nursing program is ACEN accredited with the next site visit scheduled this fall, 2021. The program NCLEX pass rates for the past 2 years have been 88.46 and 81.18. And this concludes my report. Representatives are here to answer any questions and for any comments about your acceptance of this progress report. Thank you.
I motion that we accept. Do I have a second?
I'll second it, Woods.
Any board member comments? Then we can, moderator, would you take us to public comment?
We will be opening for public comment now. I will be activating the question and answer feature. Please refer to the screen share for members of the public to see how they should type in their request for comment. I've activated the question and answer feature. Members of the public can indicate that they would like to make a comment by typing into the question box, "I would like to make a comment." Please remember, you will have 2 minutes to make your comments. I will not give a reminder as your time approaches. I do not want to interrupt you nor cause you to lose your train of thought. I will mute your microphone and inform you that your time has expired, and we'll move on to the next member of the public. I'll pause for a moment for members of the public to type in, "I would like to make a comment." Committee Chair Dominguez, there are no other public requests for comment. Would you like me to close this window?
Yes, please. I call it for a vote. I, Jovita Dominguez, votes yes. President Dolores Trujillo?
Dolores Trujillo votes yes.
Vice President Mary Fagan?
Mary Fagan votes yes.
Imelda Ceja, I'm so sorry, Bekowitz?
Yes, I vote yes. Thank you.
Betty Woods?
Woods, yes.
Susan Naranjo?
Susan, yes.
Okay, then that brings us to 8.6.
Thank you very much. Agenda item 8.6, discussion and possible action regarding the Education Licensing Committee recommendation to accept changes to an approved program. 8.6.1, this is an addition of a new campus or location for Gurnick Academy of Medical Arts Associate Degree Nursing Program in Fresno, California. This is a new location and address for the ADN program. This program will be presented by Jeanette Wackerly, Supervising Nursing Education Consultant. Jeanette?
This is
Turn off your speaker again, Jeanette.
I don't have it on. If I turn off my ground speaker, it's on. There. I will just go. The Education Licensing Committee is asking that you approve the move of Gurnick Academy of Medical Arts. They originally in Fresno were on Palm Avenue and have now moved to First Street. If you're familiar with Fresno, that's not a very far move. But the big move was that they overtook and remodeled a complete school. And so all of their RN program moved from the Palm location to the First Street location. I had an opportunity to visit by Zoom and see all the increased classroom size, increased connectivity with electronics. Also, they moved their admin people over to this site. It was a school at one time, so it was a remodel of an existing school to meet their needs for an RN program. The director of the program is probably on the line. Her name is Samantha Manos Sanchez. Samantha, are you there?
Good afternoon, Ms. Walkerly, and to the Board of Registered Nursing Board members. Yes, I am here.
So it didn't. They didn't increase anything in their enrollments. They have the same enrollments. They have the same faculty, and they have essentially the same equipment that moved from one location to another. So we're asking the board to approve the move to a new location of the Associate Degree Nursing Program at Vernon Academy of Medical Arts.
I motion that we accept. Does who would
I
like
will second that, Jovita.
Thank you. Board member comments?
I'm sorry, Jovita, who was the second?
Yes, it was Imelda.
Thank you.
And so moderator, would you take us to public comment, please?
We will be opening for public comment now. I will be activating the question and answer feature. Please refer to the screen share for members of the public to see how they should type in their request for comment. I've activated the question and answer feature. Members of the public can indicate that they would like to make a comment by typing into the question box, "I would like to make a comment." Please remember, you will have 2 minutes to make your comments. I will not give a reminder as your time approaches. I do not want to interrupt you nor cause you to lose your train of thought. I will mute your microphone and inform you that your time has expired, and we'll move on to the next member of the public. I'll pause for a moment for members of the public to type in, "I would like to make a comment." Committee Chair Dominguez, there are no public requests for comment. Would you like me to close this window?
Yes, please. I, Jovita Dominguez, vote yes. President Dolores Trujillo?
Dolores Trujillo votes yes.
Vice President Mary Fagan?
Mary Fagan, yes.
Betty Woods?
Woods, yes.
Imelda Ceja Pacowitz?
Imelda, yes.
Susan Naranjo?
Susan, yes.
Thank you. Dr. McCarthy, that brings us to 8.6.2.
Correct. 8.6.2, discussion and possible action regarding the Education Licensing Committee recommendation to accept changes to an approved program. 8.6.2 is the closure of a program with a teach-out plan for Mount St. Mary's University Associate Degree Nursing Program. Closure of a program with a teach-out. This program will be presented by Heather Sands, Nursing Education Consultant. Heather? Okay, they're telling me that Heather is not here. Bye-bye. So, so this program has, I'm going to have you refer to your materials, but this program has been in existence for some time and has made the decision to close the ADN program in response to low NCLEX pass rates, along with difficulty in securing clinical spots. So they have presented and submitted to Dr. Sands all of the information that is needed. Someone has their, can everybody mute, please? Have submitted all the information necessary in order to present this teach-out plan. I believe they've already taken their last admission, and I am going to let the program director speak to, I want to say it's the end of 22, but I'm going to let him speak to that so that I make sure I have it correct. On the line for this program should be Dr. Michael LaChance, the program director, Dr. Robert Parents, the provost, and Dr. Leo Castero, who is the dean. Mr. LaChance, or Dr. LaChance, I'm sorry, would you like to?
Thank you, Marianne. It's Michael LaChance.
Sorry, my bad.
It's okay. I would like to thank Dr. Heather Sands, although she couldn't be here, for her continued support through this process. I would like to say that Mount St. Mary's ADM program has a rich history in our community and was designed to meet the needs of our non-traditional students offering weekend and evening courses, and was implemented in 1992 when Mount St. Mary's was a college. In 2015, Mount St. Mary's transitioned from being a college to a university. Traditionally, universities do not offer associate's degrees. Our decision to close aligns with the paradigm shift by the AACN in support of their paradigm shift for BSN prepared nurses being the standard entry level in the career at this time. In fall of 2020, our enrollments decreased and evening courses were no longer viable at that time. Our decreased NCLEX scores over the past 3 years and being placed on warning further reduced our subsequent spring enrollments. I am pleased to report that our first-time pass rates after being placed on warning for the subsequent 3 quarters have been greater than 75%. We are fully committed to and prepared to teach out roughly 170 students, with the final cohort graduating in December of 2022. And that ends my comments.
Thank you, Dr. LaChance. Rita, oh, you're on mute, I'm sorry.
You for reminding me. All right, then we will motion to accept. Who would like to second?
Wood, second.
Thank you. Board member comments? Moderator, would you take us to public comment, please?
We will be opening for public comment now. I will be activating the question and answer feature. Please refer to the screen share for members of the public to see how they should type in their request for comment. I've activated the question and answer feature. Members of the public can indicate that they would like to make a comment by typing into the question box, "I would like to make a comment." Please remember, you will have 2 minutes to make your comment. I will not give a reminder as your time approaches. I do not want to interrupt you nor cause you to lose your train of thought. I will mute your microphone and inform you that your time has expired, and we'll move on to the next member of the public. I'll pause for a moment for members of the public to type in, "I would like to make a comment." Committee Chair Dominguez, there are no public requests for comment. Would you like me to close this window?
Yes, please, and we can take it to a vote. I, Jovita Dominguez, votes yes. President Dolores Trujillo?
Dolores Trujillo votes yes.
Vice President Mary Fagan?
Mary Fagan, yes.
Betty Woods?
Woods, yes.
Imelda Ceja Buckowitz?
Imelda, yes.
Susan Aranjo?
Susan, yes.
Thank you. Dr. McCarthy, that takes us, I believe, to 8.6.6.3.
Before we go on, I just have a quick question. back to 8.6.1 Gurnick Academy of Medical Arts. Did they have a teach-out plan? Did I miss that?
They didn't close. They just
Okay.
moved locations.
So
So that was one. Gurnick moved locations. Mount St. Mary's ADN is closing.
got it.
WSN is next.
Okay, thank you.
No problem. No problem. Agenda item 8.6.3. Discussion and possible action regarding the Education Licensing Committee recommendation to accept changes to an approved program. Mount St. Mary's University Baccalaureate Degree Nursing Program enrollment increase. This program is going to be presented by Heather Sands. I think we found her and she's on the line. Heather.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Thanks so much.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Okay. I've been on the phone all day. Okay, great. Good afternoon, board members. I know that you're getting tired and it's almost time to dismiss for the day. I have for you on the line Dr. Marie Seitz. She's the program director at Mount St. Mary's University Bachelor's Program. Dr. Robert Perrins, who is the provost, and Dr. Leah Fitzgerald, who is the dean. So this request has to do with an enrollment increase of 62 students annually. So therefore from 98 to 160. The increase of 62 students are seats that will be provided with the closure of their associate degree program. And this, was just previously presented, and the whys and wherefores as to why they're closing. Currently, the faculty in the School of Nursing teach in both the ADN and bachelor programs, so faculty members the numbers are adequate for this increase. The school plans to recruit an additional assistant director to assist with the administration of this program. Closing the ADN program will allow full allocation of resources toward the BSN programs, and there are two of them. The program has the physical and fiscal resources to accommodate these additional students. And documents for all of this are included in your packet, and of course this was presented at ELC. And Mount St. Mary's University is available now for any questions that you may have. This concludes my report, and thank you.
So this is Dr. Marie Seitz. Dr. McCarthy, is this when I jump in?
Sure, if you'd like. You're not required to, but you're welcome to. Go ahead.
No, thank you so much, Dr. McCarthy, and thank you, Dr. Sands, President Trujillo, and all the esteemed members of the board. Again, thank you for considering this request from Mount St. Mary's. As you know, we were the first baccalaureate program in the state, and we have a long history of educating nurses in the Los Angeles area. We're asking for this expansion of TBS enrollment from 98 to 160 once per year. And this enrollment increase is supported by our clinical partners and will be balanced by the teach out of the ADN program. To support this enrollment, we have 2 full-time student success coordinators and are currently building a program with our MA in counseling program to ensure that we have even additional resources on site to support students that might be struggling. Our student success coordinators are trained at the master's level. One is a social worker and one is trained in collegiate advising. We also have a director and assistant director in place. Our pass rates remain strong, above 89%. And in the most recent quarter, there was a dip, but on microanalysis, we only had 3 repeating test takers for TBSN. We had no first-time test takers from TBSN. And the 3 repeaters actually all passed, including one that had graduated about 4 years before. So our accelerated graduates make up the majority of those students that reflect those pass rates. We are obviously working with the student success coordinator of the accelerated program, but that is not where we were asking for an expansion of enrollment. We've also worked really hard to secure extra funding and to ensure that the costs aren't there are no additional costs borne by the students. Most of our BSN students qualify for Pell and federal grant as well as student loans. We have obtained HRSA grants to cover full tuition for junior and senior continuing students, 10 students each course, and we're obviously looking for more grant funding for that. And we are looking to keep all of our ADN faculty, as well as potentially expanding some of the student support services and staff that we have in place. We hope that this helps to address any concerns you might have, and look forward to really being able to continue to support nursing within the Los Angeles community. Thank you guys for your time.
Thank you, Dr. Sykes.
Okay, thank you. I motion that we accept. Who would like to second?
I'll second. It's Mary.
Thank you, Mary. Any board member comments? Then moderator, would you take us to public comment?
We will be opening for public comment now. I will be activating the question and answer feature. Please refer to the screen share for members of the public to see how they should type in their request for comment. I've activated the question and answer feature. Members of the public can indicate they would like to make a comment by typing into the question box, "I would like to make a comment." Please remember, you will have 2 minutes to make your comments. I will not give a reminder as your time approaches. I do not want to interrupt you nor cause you to lose your train of thought. I will mute your microphone and inform you that your time has expired, and we'll move on to the next member of the public. I'll pause for a moment for members of the public to type in, "I would like to make a comment." Committee Chair Dominguez, there are no public requests for comment. Would you like me to close this window?
Yes, please. I'd like to take it to a vote. Jovita Dominguez votes yes. President Dolores Trujillo.
Dolores Trujillo votes yes.
Vice President Mary Fagan.
Mary Fagan, yes.
Betty Woods.
Woods, yes.
Imelda Ceja Bakowitz.
Imelda, yes.
Susan Naranjo.
Susan.
Okay, Dr. McCarthy, 8.6.4.
Excuse me, Dr. McCarthy, I just want to state one thing. After the completion of the Stanbridge University Baccalaureate Degree Nursing Program, we'll go ahead and go into closed session.
No problem. And we'll pick up with 8.7 tomorrow then.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Agenda item 8.6. Discussion and possible action regarding Education Licensing Committee recommendation to accept changes to approved program. 8.6.4 is Stanbridge University Baccalaureate Degree Nursing Program. This is a major curriculum revision with enrollment increase. Presenting this program will be Mary Jane Rosenblatt, Nursing Education Consultant. Mary Jane, are you on the line?
Yes, I was just on mute, but I think I'm off now.
You are.
Moderator, may I ask you if Minerva Valdenor or Kelly Hamilton are on the call as well?
Yes, both of your members are here and have been promoted.
Thank you so
much. And you're welcome to use your video if you want, Mary Jane.
Oh, thank you. Good afternoon, and thank you to everyone who's here with us today. It's been a long day. I would like to present that major curriculum change from Stanbridge University's Los Angeles campus, actually located in Alhambra, which is in the San Gabriel Valley. This was a program that was actually approved in 2018 as a second campus. And at the time, the request was for 35 students, 4 terms a year. In the meantime, there was a concern for clinical sites, and the school was approved to go ahead with 5 years, but temporarily have an enrollment pattern of 30 students 3 times a year. In the meantime, the school has worked diligently in order to develop relationships for clinical sites. At the time I presented to the ELC in June, they had 25 clinical partnerships. However, Since then, they have increased to 30. The NCLEX rates for the LA campus BSN program are still pending graduation of the first cohort. However, to give you an idea of the excellence of this program, the Irvine campus, which was their first campus, has NCLEX rates of 95% for 2018 and 19 and 99% for 2019 to 2020. The request being brought today and recommended by the ELC is to increase their annual enrollments to 30 students 3 times a year to 35 students 4 times a year at East Campus. And if I could, I would like to introduce my program director and Dr. Who is Minerva Valdenor, and Dr. Kelly Hamilton, the Vice President of Instruction, for their comment.
Hello, good evening, board members. This is Dr. Jenny Joy, Assistant Director of BSN Program at the LA campus. With me today is Director Minerva Valdenor, President Mr. Yasid Veerasuriya, and Vice President Dr. Kelly Hamilton. We would like to express our sincere gratitude to Dr. McCarthy and Ms. Rosenblatt for their continued guidance and support. We are happy to be here and answer any questions you all have.
Thank you very much, Dr. Joy. Vita?
Yes, thank you. I'd like to make a motion to accept. Who would second that, please?
Woods, seconds.
Thank you. Any board member comments? Moderator, would you, I'm sorry, is there anybody that'd like to make a comment? Moderator, would you take us to public comment?
We will be opening for public comment now. I will be activating the question and answer feature. Please refer to the screen share for members of the public to see how they should type in their request for comment. I've activated the question and answer feature. Members of the public can indicate that they would like to make a comment by typing into the question box, "I would like to make a comment." Please remember, you will have 2 minutes to make your comments. I will not give a reminder as your time approaches. I do not want to interrupt you nor cause you to lose your train of thought. I will mute your microphone and inform you that your time has expired, and we'll move on to the next member of the public. I'll pause for a moment for members of the public to type in, "I would like to make a comment." Committee Chair Dominguez, there are no public requests for comment. Would you like me to close this window?
Yes, thank you. I'd call for a vote. Jovita Dominguez votes yes. President Dolores Trujillo?
Dolores Trujillo votes yes.
Vice President Mary Fagan?
Mary Fagan, yes.
Betty Woods?
Woods, yes.
Thank you. Imelda Aceja Bakowitz? Imelda?
Imelda, yes. Sorry about that.
Susan Naranjo?
Susan, yes.
Thank you. And I believe that will continue tomorrow. And we will close and start the closed session.
Yes, correct. We will adjourn now. We will go into closed session. This will be the end of the meeting for today that is open to the public. And we will adjourn we will reestablish quorum and start again tomorrow with agenda item 8.7 of the Education Licensing Committee meeting at 9 a.m. Thank you very much. And follow board members, please follow the link that was sent to you in the email to join the public session and exit out of our WebEx.
Thanks, Laura.
Thank you. Will it be on Teams?
It is. It's in your email. It is on Teams, and it's already opened up, so we can join there.
Thank you.